called the Angers Ducks. They are. So, but you're right. He's now back in football coaching. A difficult question, perhaps, for you to answer. But you spend so much time in and around French football. Do people? I mean, it's only 10 years since he stopped playing. Do people still remember him, or is he already lost to the dustbin of history?
Yeah, they do. He pops up in the media now and then. He's not a braggart, and he never was. But people find him really human. People relate to him, and it's something. Modern football is something that France really struggles with in a lot of ways. France always struggled with the game becoming really professional. So the fact that it's so rampantly commercial these days, there are a huge section of French football supporters who find that very, very difficult to deal with. And of course, Steve Savidan is the absolute antidote to that.
It's been a fantastic tale. Thank you so much for that, Andy. In the second part of today's edition of Trans-Europe Express, we'll be talking about perhaps a more famous footballer, but one who also has an incredibly interesting and rumbustious backstory. We'll be talking about Portuguese legend Paulo Futre.
Official broadcaster of UEFA Euro 2024, Germany.
All too easy.
This is TalkSport 2.
Euro Game Day Live on TalkSport 2 with Carly, the UK's #1 lager. 18 plus, always drink responsibly.
This Euros, The Sun is bringing you all the gossip, goals and giants of the game. Get insights and analysis from Harry, should have been England manager, Redknapp, Jack, the maestro, Wilshere, Gordon, no nonsense, Strachan, and Jurgen, the winner, Klinsmann. You won't want to miss it. Don't miss out, only in The Sun.
Well, you can see why people are talking about Asda, can't you?
Of course, on paper, Asda have a great lineup with 24 packs of Budweiser, just £14. Then there's pizza price drops, including the talented spicy chicken fajita flavour. Was £3, now £2.
And don't forget the dependable garlic flatbread was £1.80, now £1.50. Could be the difference maker. What a lineup!
Get match ready at Asda this summer. Asda, that's more like it. Selected stores online subject to availability. Budweiser 300ml, price not available in Wales and Scotland. May exclude Express and small stores. See asda.com/small stores.
Let's go live to hear about that winning goal.
The crowd's gone absolutely wild here. How on earth do you sum up your emotions right now?
Amazing. A hat-trick is just the best feeling ever.
Is it though? Is kicking a ball into the back of a net really better than food fulfillment from Burger King? That warm, fuzzy feeling of total food satisfaction, like finishing the last bite of a Gourmet King's Barbecue Steakhouse Angus.
No.
Correct. Burger King. That's food fulfillment.
This tournament, prepare for greatness with William Hill. Get ready for last-minute winners, legendary goals, and straight red cards. Oh, what was he thinking? Win 25% more on every single game this tournament with Bet Builder Extra, online or in the app, only from William Hill. Available day before match to kick-off. Bet Builders are 3+ selections at 3-1 or more. Pre-match singles, match stake £20. Full T's and C's apply. 18+, begambleaware.org.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
On the beach, on the beach, on the beach.
Booking geniuses. Choose from thousands of amazing all-inclusive holidays with On the Beach. Go all in on all-inclusive. Leave the bank cards at home, but not your trunks. On the Beach. Book like a genius. Holiday like a fool.
ATO protected.
On the beach.
Roll out of bed. Put the kettle on. Get into serious altercation with your 3-year-old. Try logical reasoning. Fail. Become the voice of Mr. Snuggles. Negotiate your way out of a tantrum and become the greatest parent of all time. For less.
Selected IKEA soft toys are now at a new lower price, along with thousands of other products. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
Here she is, the 3-time world champion. What has she got in store for us today? Things are starting to heat up. Here she goes.
Triple builders, double stir. I don't believe it. And a chocolate digestive to finish it off. A thing of beauty. You have to say, the judges are gonna love this one.
British Gas, powering home fans during this summer of sport.
Euro Game Day Live, delivered by TalkSport 2 with Burger King. Save big with the $4.99 King Box. It's the ultimate match day lineup, featuring a barbecue double melt burger, chili cheese bites, fries, and a drink.
Incredible! Incredible Zlatan Ibrahimovic!
Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp!
Zinedine Zidane!
Now, in the second half of tonight's show, we'll discuss the stories behind the former Newcastle forward, the amazing Tino Asprilla. But we're starting tonight by discussing the life of Pro Evolution soccer legend Adriano. Welcome, Tim.
Lovely to be here.
Thank you very much for coming all the way across the Atlantic Ocean. This is the kind of stuff that goes on this programme. So we're going to start with Adriano. Just for the teenagers listening, tell us something about who he was and how he got to be the footballer we knew as a teenager.
Well, for a while, and he was one of the world's great centre-forwards, and he seemed bang on course to be the world's greatest centre-forward.
When was this, Tim?
His professional career started in around 1999, 2000. And up until around 2005, 2006, he was a phenomenon. It was built like a wardrobe with a left foot shot that was an absolute howitzer. I saw international goalkeepers tremble when he lined up that left boot. But he wasn't just strong, he was subtle with it. He was the complete package for a while until he stopped being the complete package because of what was going on in his head.
Which is, of course, what we'll be getting onto later in this edition of the Cult Hero Summer Specials. For me, my recollection is that, you know, we're going to talk in the course of this series, you're going to talk to us about several brilliant South American players and several genius Brazilian players. But my favourite of all, but you know, I actually am old enough to remember Pelé playing, but the one I remember watching with the most enjoyment was the, you know, Ronaldo, as we have to call him now, Fat Ronaldo, which I think is an absolute insult because what a footballer he is.
I've done it once or twice myself, and I've lived to regret it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so as Ronaldo's career started to wind down, suddenly Adriano appeared in the scene. I thought, oh my God, they've got another one. Not exactly the same, but they're just going to replace one genius with another.
Well, it looked like
didn't
that.
Happen.
It looked like that, and they did have the two of them together in the 2006 World Cup when they had the two of them with Kaká and Ronaldinho.
That'll do for most teams, won't it?
Well, but it didn't work at all, and it's when Ronaldo was perhaps becoming a little bit bulkier Ronaldo, and it's also when Adriano was beginning to cease to function.
Right, we're talking a little bit, we're jumping ahead of ourselves here, talking about what went wrong. Let's go back to when it was all going right. Talk to me about his early career. Obviously, he's born in Brazil and doesn't even play, according to records here, for the little teams. He goes straight to Flamengo, yeah?
Yeah.
One of the biggest clubs in South America.
Yeah, it's the most popular club in Brazil, and he was in the first team at 18. And, you know, when you reflect on Adriano, I feel a lot of emotions. One of them is being privileged, you know, because, you know, like those kids in the 1950s New York movies. Yeah, I saw the whole thing. I saw the whole thing. And I remember being at a game when he was 18, and he came off the bench, and he just changed the entire game. Now, the opposing coach there was a fellow called Emerson Leão, who was Brazil's goalkeeper in the 70s, who the next week became Brazil's coach. The next week. And I was at his first press conference, and he called up Adriano as an 18-year-old, and he said, you know, I haven't seen anything like this. A big left-footed centre-forward. The comparison for those of us of a certain age perhaps wasn't the best one. He compared him with Serginho from the 1982 squad.
Who, to my recollection, was literally a plank.
Yeah, although if you got your crosses in and let him attack it, he was fearsome, you know. But a technical midfield, he wasn't quite the races. But Adriano had all of that. But he had the subtlety as well. And Adriano in the 82 side, he would have combined with all those great midfielders
They'd have won the World Cup.
That they had. So he was straight in the Brazil side at 18. That was a little bit premature, and it didn't come off. But you could see that there was something absolutely phenomenal. The combination of strength and subtlety and placement, positioning. He seemed to have the entire lot. And as he proved in Italy, because a lot of people, when they look back at Adriano's career, they said, oh, he couldn't settle. Look at the stats. It simply is not true. He went to Italy as a teenager at a time when Serie A was a much more difficult proposition than it is these days. You know, at a time when it's probably ahead of the Premier League.
We've talked about it several times on Trans Europe Express. It's hard for younger people to understand that at the turn of the century, Italy had 10, 12 excellent club sides. If you look at some of their lineups, because they still had all the money there, and you just think, my God, that's another international level. There's an international level. That's now happening in the Premier League, less so in Italy.
They had so many good players there that lots of good players were just on the bench. So Adriano goes to Inter as a teenager. It's clear that he has potential, but that's they're a magnificent team. So he has to be loaned out here and there a little bit first, and he goes to Fiorentina and he scores goals. He goes to Parma, he scores lots more goals, and then he goes back to Inter. And there's a succession of titles there for Inter, and he is the main man. So at this point, we are talking about a player who looks as if he's poised to become the world's greatest centre-forward.
I mean, he's you're right in to say that he is at Inter in the mid-noughties, as we now call them. And it's very hard for you to separate what's happened from where we were then. But when he was winning the Copa America with Brazil in Peru in 2004...
Just to break off there, I was in the stadium for that one. Argentina had won the game. It was 2-1 until the last kick. And it was one of those left boot howitzers. Goalkeeper didn't move. 2-2, no extra time, straight to penalties. And Argentina, who'd won the game, they went into the penalty shootout with the air of people who've just been pickpocketed. They didn't know where they were. You knew they were going to lose that penalty shootout. The following year, Confederations Cup, he's a top scorer in the Confederations Cup. And the first game was against Greece. Now, you'll remember, Danny, how well Greece defended. In fact, how dull they were.
Yeah.
It was a game based on not conceding. All right, fair enough against everything that Europe had to offer in 2004. The following year, the Confederations Cup, the first thing that's up against them, the goalkeeper, Greece, he didn't move. And it was like 40 yards. Bang! Back of the net. All over. 1-0. And once Brazil had taken the lead against Greece, Greece ain't going to come back.
No.
So at that point, roll out the red carpet.
So thank you. And what I was trying to say then, so he's in a great Inter Milan team. He's in a Brazilian team that's winning the Copa America. Had he already, by his early 20s, had he begun to fulfil, was he the thing that you thought you saw when he was 18?
Yeah, he certainly was. He was the real deal Holyfield, and he would have probably beaten Evander over 12 rounds as well, you know.
Well, that's the other thing. People, lots of footballers were built like boxers in those days. They look like middle-distance runners now, but he looked like the heavyweight champion of the world, didn't he?
Yeah, I spoke to him once, interviewed him once, and we were standing up. And I'm not, I'm just 5'11", something like that. You know, I hurt my neck having to look up to him. You know, and taking a voyage round him, it would have taken forever.
These loans in between being bought by Inter at 18 and becoming the player he was 5 years later, 4 years later. The loans to Parma and Fiorentina, how are they viewed in Italy now? As somebody who was just learning his trade and improving? Or there's not a sign of failure, is it?
Not at all, because, when you're buying someone at 18 at that time, no one expected him to go straight into the Inter side. I think he scored a magnificent free kick on his debut for Inter. So, wow, we haven't wasted our money here. But, let's just water the plant. Let's nurture this one along. Who was he up against?
Can you remember who was in the Inter team at the time? Who would it have been?
Well, I think he played with Ibra, didn't he?
Yeah, well, we'll hear a bit from Ibrahimovic later on about his belief that Adriano, the man we're talking about today, the boy, the man we're talking about, was a very decent player, which coming from Ibrahimovic is like the biggest praise you could imagine. And I guess the biggest praise I can think of for him, and I know that you don't play soccer computer games, but there is one called Pro Evolution Soccer. I happen to play Football Manager, the other kind of thing, but the one where you make the players run around. The highest praise that a player can get is that you're on the cover of what is a game that sells tens of millions around the world. And at the height of all this carry on here, before the decline that we'll look at in the second part of this early part of Trans-Europe Express Cult Hero Summer Special, at the high water mark of Adriano, it's him, not Ibrahimovic, not anybody else. It's him who's on the cover of Pro Evo Soccer, which means that for a generation, aged perhaps in the late 20s, early 30s now, he is as important a player in his own way as your Messi's and your Cristiano Ronaldo's. That's just the way it is. Yeah. That's how the heights to which he reached.
Yeah, and that puts into perspective the depths which he plumbed. When you think what he could have become.
And that is what we'll look at next here.
Euro Game Day Live, delivered by TalkSport 2 with Burger King, official providers of food fulfillment. That warm, fuzzy feeling of total food satisfaction. Order your Burger King delivery now.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
On the beach, on the beach, on the beach.
Booking geniuses, save your summer. Get a wiggle on and book yourself a bargain with On the Beach. Big budget or small, we've got a mega holiday for all. Should have been a rapper. On the Beach, book like a genius, holiday like a fool.
ATO protected.
On the beach.
Well, you can see why people are talking about Asda, can't you?
Of course, on paper, Asda have a great lineup with 2 for £20 on packs of beer like Peroni. Then there's party wear from £1, the midfield trio of bunting, face paint and flags.
And don't forget the dependable 2 for £7 on Coke 8 packs could be the difference maker. What a lineup!
Get match ready at Asda with beer and decorations on offer until the 14th of July. Asda, that's more like it. Selected stores online subject to availability. Beer packs 10 times 330ml each. Not available in Scotland. Coke 330ml, £4.25 each. May exclude express in small stores. See asda.com/small stores.
This tournament, prepare for greatness with William Hill. Get ready for last-minute winners, legendary goals, and straight red cards. Oh, what was he thinking? Win 25% more on every single game this tournament with Bet Builder Extra, online or in the app, only from William Hill. Available day before match to kick-off. Bet Builders are 3+ selections at 3-1 or more. Pre-match singles, match stake £20. Full T's and C's apply. 18+, begambleaware.org.
This Euros, The Sun is bringing you all the gossip, goals and giants of the game. Get insights and analysis from Harry, should have been England manager, Redknapp, Jack, the maestro, Wilshere, Gordon, no nonsense, Strachan, and Jurgen, the winner, Klinsmann. You won't want to miss it. Don't miss out, only in The Sun.
Settle down for a night of crime. Witness a heist. Follow a car chase. Eat too much popcorn. Meet a mafia boss. Join in on a bank robbery. Think about making a cup of tea. Be too comfortable to get up. For less.
Selected IKEA sofas are now at a new lower price, along with thousands of other products. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
Here she is, the 3-time world champion. What has she got in store for us today? Things are starting to heat up. Here she goes.
Triple builders, double stir. I don't believe it. And a chocolate digestive to finish it off. A thing of beauty, you have to say. The judges are gonna love this one.
British Gas, powering home fans during this summer of sport.
Let's go live to hear about that winning goal.
The crowd's gone absolutely wild here. How on earth do you sum up your emotions right now?
Amazing. A hat-trick is just the best feeling ever.
Is it though? Is kicking a ball into the back of the net really better than food fulfillment from Burger King? That warm, fuzzy feeling of total food satisfaction, like finishing the last bite of a Gourmet King's Barbecue Steakhouse Angus.
No.
Correct. Burger King. That's food fulfillment.
Euro Game Day Live on TalkSport 2 with Carly, the UK's #1 lager. 18+, always drink responsibly.
Here we go.
Super hard, super tough, Super League on TalkSport 2.
Absolutely magnificent.
Fast-paced, full-contact coverage of the ultimate hard-hitting rugby tournament.
And they're over the line.
Broadcasting live commentary of over 40 games across the season.
Have we got the greatest comeback in Super League history?
Including the Rivals Weekend, the Magic Weekend, and the Super League Grand Final, live from Old Trafford.
They're back into the game.
Scrum down for all the rock and roll action of Super League this season on TalkSport 2. TalkSport 2.
Energising ball-by-ball, kick-by-kick coverage of the biggest tournament in European football.
It is game on.
Euro Game Day Live
on TalkSport 2.
Achtung, baby.
The Euro 2024 adventure begins for Ukraine and Romania in Munich. It's a game that means so much to both nations.
Zinchenko! On the follow-up! Brilliant finish
from Ukrainian Alexander Zinchenko.
I do like Ukraine a lot. I look at that group and I think they are more than capable of finishing in the top two. I think they're more than capable of giving Belgium a really tough game.
And Romania enjoying their first real spell of pressure. It's played short by Hadji and fired in by Stanku. Really good save by Peacock Farrell, but it's worth back in field to Puskás, and Romania have the opening goal.
Edward Jordanescu's done a pretty good job, I think, with the resources available to him. They did brilliantly to qualify, and they qualified really well.
Mudryk, who weaves his way through, goes round the goalkeeper, pops it home. It's a terrific goal from Mikhailo Mudryk.
Again, you look at them reaching the quarterfinals at the last Euros. I wouldn't say that's off the table at all for this one.
It is a wonderful atmosphere in Munich, seas of yellow, and it is a gorgeous day in the south of Germany as well. And this a game with war raging in their homeland that means so very much to Ukraine. It's about so much more than just 3 points today. Team sheets are in. I can tell you that Ukraine's big debate was over the left-back position. Everton's Vitaly Mykolenko hasn't recovered sufficiently from injury, so Arsenal's Alexander Zinchenko moves across from midfield to play on the left of defence. Apart from that, pretty much the team we expected. Chelsea's Mikhailo Mudryk scored the goal that sealed Ukraine's place at this tournament. He plays on the left. Georgi Sudakov is the rising star in the number 10 role. Lone striker Artem Dovbyk was La Liga's top scorer with 24 goals. Let's give you their team in full. Andriy Lunin in goal. Alexander Zinchenko, Mykola Matvienko, Ilya Zabani and Yuhim Konoplia, the back four. Mykola Shaparenko, Taras Stepanenko and Georgi Sudakov in midfield. Mikhailo Mudryk wide on the left. Viktor Sihankov wide on the right. Artem Dovbyk in attack. As for Romania, they've opted for experience in goal. 36-year-old Florin Nita given the nod. Spurs centre-back Radu Dragushin, part of a defence that conceded just 5 goals in qualifying. It was a slight surprise. Florinel Coman, known as the Romanian Mbappe, lines up on the left wing. Nicolae Stanciu, the creative heartbeat. Denis Dragush has won the battle to start in attack. So it's Florin Nita in goal. Andrei Ratiu, Andrei Burka, Radu Dragushin and Nico Short Banku, the back four. Marius Marin and Razvan Marin in the deeper midfield positions with Nicolae Stanciu ahead of them. Denis Mann down the right, Florinel Coman down the left and Denis Dragush in attack. Let's quickly get the reaction to that team news from Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, and it's a really intriguing tactical battle, this.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be interesting to see how they both set up. I think we know more in terms of Romania, what we'll get from them. They're going to be very difficult to beat, try and play on the counter-attack, whereas Ukraine, I think they've got a little bit more quality in the side. They're a bit more adaptable. And against someone like Romania, I think they're going to go for it. They'll get the fullbacks to go high. The wide players will come in and play almost inverted, and Sudakov in the middle especially will try and run things in that number 10 role, and Dovbyk, what a fantastic season he's had in terms of his goal scoring, top of La Liga.
Well, ahead of kick-off, let's get an odds update with William Hill.
In the Zone on TalkSport 2 with William Hill. Prepare for greatness with William Hill. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Delighted to say that Lee Phelps from William Hill is with us. And Lee, Ukraine, many people's favourites to win this game. Is that how the odds stack up?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 10 to 11. A touch of odds on actually to win this one. 23 to 10 the draw and 7 to 2 the price for Romania. I can see this one being a fairly tight match. I think Ukraine will get the job done in the end. Romania have come into this in a bit of sticky form, really. I've put a bet builder together actually because I do fancy under 2.5 goals. Don't worry, listeners, that doesn't mean it's going to be a bad game at all. I think 1-0, 2-0 Ukraine. I think it'll be a good game. So under 2.5 goals. Artem Dovbyk to get one of them. 2 in 3 in the friendlies. 25 for Girona, as you're just saying then, this season. I think he's a good one to have in that list. And Marius Marin, make sure you get your Marins right. Marius Marin to be booked in this game. 4 in 10 for his country in qualifiers and in friendlies. 13 for Pisa this season as well. So those three, under 2.5 goals, Artem Dovbyk to score and Marius Marin to be booked, come out to 18 to 1 and 22.5 to 1 with your 25% bet boost. So looking forward to it. Can't wait to hear it.
That was the latest from William Hill. Please gamble responsibly. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
In the Zone on TalkSport 2 with William Hill. Prepare for greatness with William Hill. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Well, let's look ahead to the action thanks to Burger King.
Big match preview on Talk Sport 2 with Burger King. Bring home the ultimate food satisfaction. Get your favourites delivered now.
Kevin Hatchard, your match commentator for this one, alongside the former Liverpool striker Courtney Sweetman-Kirk. And Courtney, with Ukraine, there is so much else going on here. You know, obviously it's not just a regular football match for them. They have been an inspiration to those in their country. The war in Ukraine, they want to be centre stage in the media. They've said that. They see this as very important to represent their country in Germany over the next few weeks.
Yeah, and rightly so. And I think there's always a lot around footballers, and people say maybe just stick to football, but that's very much for them more than football. It's obviously about what they do on the pitch, but the deeper meaning to everything that's going on in Ukraine, and they're fantastic role models for that.
Wonderful scene out on the pitch with depiction of the trophy and a number of coloured banners. It really is a wonderful atmosphere in this stadium in southern Germany, the home of Bayern Munich for most of the year. As for Romania, I mean, there'll be a lot of media coverage about Ukraine, quite rightly, but it's been a while since Romania have been in this competition. They've only ever won one game in the finals of this competition. It's a big day for them.
Yeah, it is massive, and I think to get to the competition is obviously one thing. As you mentioned, they've only won one game in their history, so to come here to do well, I think if you look at the group, arguably they've got a decent chance. You'd probably say it's the weakest group out of all the groups, so I think everyone in that group will be looking at it thinking we've got an opportunity here to take points. You're thinking 4 points will get you out the group, so if they can put on a good performance here, be very defensively solid and play on the counter-attack, as I mentioned earlier, if they can get a point out of it, they'll be very, very happy.
Having escaped the group stage of this tournament for 24 years, back in Euro 2000, beat England in the final game to dump out the Three Lions. That was a look ahead to the action in association with Burger King.
Big match review on Talk Sport 2 with Burger King. Bring home the ultimate food satisfaction. Get your favourites delivered now.
So the players in the tunnel, what will they be feeling, Courtney? What will the emotions be, do you think?
Everyone's a little bit different. I think for me, in the tunnel, it was almost excitement. There was a little bit of nerves, but always excitement. Some players are really nervous. For me, I was always thinking about what I'm going to do in the game. The first moments, for me as a centre forward, I wanted to try and pose myself on the centre half, thinking about maybe shots on goal as well and how I'm going to do that, thinking about what the goalkeeper does. But I think these are the moments where you almost need to get it out of your system a little bit, especially if it is nerves. And once you step over that white line, then it's always, I think, everything changes. You're so focused on the game. So it's excitement, isn't it? A major tournament, the first game, they'll want to be very excited for what's to come over the next couple of weeks.
The players emerge from the tunnel to a deafening roar. The Ukrainian players wrapped in the flag of their country. Romania in their traditional yellow. Taras Stepanenko leading out his side, so experienced, the Ukrainian international. 84th cap for him this afternoon. And there is such noise around this stadium, such anticipation, such pride in what these two groups of players have achieved just by getting here. Ukraine were heartbroken to miss out on the World Cup in Qatar, but here they are in the European Championship and got to the quarters last time out. The national anthem of Ukraine. Tears in the eyes of players and fans alike. And now the national anthem of Romania. Never get old, those moments of pure passion. And the scene is set. It is always, of course, a feeling of having the hopes of a nation draped around your shoulders when you play games in major tournaments for Ukraine. That weight is a little heavier, of course. But it's time for the talking to stop. It is time for the football to begin for both Ukraine and Romania. And Courtney, wonderful emotion, wonderful atmosphere, but now it's about the players putting that to one side and trying to stay focused on the moment.
Yeah, it is. I think when you come into these games, there's so much excitement, there's so much emotion, but you've got to make sure that that's put into the game in the right way, to not get overawed, to not get too nervous. As you mentioned as well, in terms of Ukraine, it's a lot more than football. It's the weight of a nation on their shoulders. But once you step over that white line, you've got to concentrate on the job at hand and the 90 minutes going forward.
Our referee this afternoon is Sweden's Glenn Nyberg. Ukraine will be in their change kits this afternoon of light blue. Romania in their traditional yellow. The two captains on halfway, Nikolai Stanciu and Taras Stepanenko. And Nikolai Stanciu, Courtney, a player who really does pull the strings for Romania. Very, very dangerous, good set pieces as well.
Yeah, definitely, and I think they're quite adaptable as well. So when they almost go into the 4-2-3-1, I think he comes to life a little bit more and can play in sort of in between the lines in that midfield role. So certainly, especially from set pieces, as you mentioned as well, I think that's going to be a big, big part of Romania's game today.
Yeah, Romania really do have a threat from set plays. 5 of their 10 goals at Euro finals actually have been from dead ball situations. They've not scored an open play goal in any of their last 7 matches in this competition. And I mentioned Stanciu on the Romanian side. On the Ukrainian side, lots of buzz about Georgi Sudakov. Really exciting player to watch.
Yeah, he is, and I think it very much suits the way that Ukraine play in terms of him giving him that free role. The wide players, both the full-backs and the wing-backs, they invert, they interchange. So what they do is they make space for him in that central role, in that number 10 role, as we call it, to be able to get on the ball, have a lot of freedom. So I'm very excited to watch him today.
Lots of exciting action still to come on the TalkSport network. 5 o'clock kickoff, Belgium-Slovakia on TalkSport. And at 8 o'clock we see many people's favourites, France for the first time. They'll face Austria. You'll hear every kick with us here on the TalkSport network. But here on TalkSport 2, it's all about Ukraine and Romania, and we are underway. Ukraine attacking the goal away to our right in this first half. Romania, all in yellow, playing from right to left. An early test there for the Ukrainian goalkeeper, Andriy Lunin, who's been so good for Real Madrid this season. as he was put under pressure, but now it's Ukraine on the attack with Mudryk. Left edge of the penalty area, comes in on his right foot, still going, mazy run, but his pass was wayward and Romania able to clear. But Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, that's the first glimpse of how dangerous they can be on the counter.
Yeah, especially we don't normally see Romania go into a high press like that, but I think they were clever. I don't think they necessarily went into the high press, but they saw the poor ball going forward and did manage to jump on it, but then after that didn't keep the ball too cleverly. And when you've got someone like Mudryk on the pitch, his pace, his power, his tenacity, yes, we know in terms of his end product isn't always there, but it's a really good start from him.
Romania's qualification came as something of a surprise. They failed to qualify for the last Euros. They've not played in World Cup since 1998, but they did end up finishing 5 points clear of Switzerland at the top of their qualifying section. They didn't suffer a single defeat. As for Ukraine, they qualified the hard way, finished third in their group behind England and Italy. They had to go down the playoff route, came from behind to win their semi-final 2-1 against Bosnia-Herzegovina, and needed another comeback win in the final against Iceland. It was Chelsea's Mihailo Mudryk who got the winner in that game. Ball is with Taras Stepanenko at the heart of midfield, the captain, 84th cap for him, plays his football for Shakhtar Donetsk in Ukraine. He's a real icon in this team and has done so much to raise awareness about the war in Ukraine and keep that story in the headlines, and has raised money as well, as has the man on the ball now, Alexander Zinchenko, the Arsenal player. He's been really prominent in fundraising efforts. Sends the ball long down the inside left channel and a little too long there for Artem Dovbyk. He was the target, couldn't bring the ball under his spell, skips away from him through to the goalkeeper Florinita.
Yeah, it was his first sighting, wasn't it? And that's what Dovbyk absolutely loves. If he's got that space in front of him to run onto the ball, both with the ball and without the ball, he's got so much pace, and that's just a bit of a warning for that Romania back line.
Third minute here on TalkSport 2 live. Euro 2024 football. Romania 0, Ukraine 0, their first game of the group stage. Ball is played long towards the run of Stanciu in the Romanian midfield, but the ball skipped away from him. Nice little back flick from Stanciu though, out to the left-hand side, and Florinel Coman, who is known as the Romanian Mbappe, no pressure, scored 19 goals for FCSB in Romanian football this season. Bit of space here for the blue-haired Andrei Ratiu, the right back, and now it's played long into the Ukrainian penalty area, and it skips all the way through to the goalkeeper, but they're trying to be direct at times.
Yeah, they are, and actually not bad in the build-up, but then it's that decision-making, isn't it, of when to play that ball. In terms of the percentages, you see where the Ukrainian back line are. There's not a lot of space in between to play that ball, so maybe should have held onto the ball a little bit longer there.
Matvienko plays it out to the left-hand side for Ukraine, just shy of halfway, and Zinchenko finds Mudryk. That blonde hair of his plays it out to the left touchline. Nice little dart in field, and now a bit of room for Shaparenko. Forward to Zihankov, who's had a brilliant season for Girona in La Liga, helped them qualify for the Champions League for the first time in their history. Viktor Zihankov, Artem Dovbyk, the lone striker for Ukraine today, the top scorer in La Liga for Girona, 24 goals. And he only sealed the Pichichi Award with a goal in the 90th minute of their final game, which was a 7-0 win against Granada. So nail-biting stuff for him.
Yeah, and it's one of those, especially as a centre forward, when it's 6-0, there's other people on the score sheet and you're thinking, I just want to get on the score sheet. But obviously then the top goal scorer accolade waiting, I'm sure he was so relieved.
And it's quite something that he's been able to do that. Finished one goal ahead of Villarreal's Alexander Sørloth. 5 minutes gone, and it is Romania 0, Ukraine 0. We're on TalkSport 2. The Romanian coach, Edward Iordanescu, is from a famous football family. His father, Angel, was in charge of the iconic Romania team that reached the World Cup quarter-finals back in 1994 in the USA. the team of George Hagi, Gica Popescu, Florin Radichoiu. He said he did ring up his dad for advice, but said Angel told him to go his own way and believe in his work, and Edward Jordanescu has done brilliantly to get them here.
Yeah, I was reading something actually, his dad was saying, sometimes they have a glass of wine at home and next thing you know he's talking about tactics and getting a laptop out and asking questions. So that heritage of football family, it's certainly an interesting dynamic.
Bit of space here on the left for Ukraine, and the cross was cut out well at the near post by Radu Dragushin, the centre-back for Tottenham. Made just 9 appearances, having joined in the January window from Genoa. Was hoping to make more, but it is difficult in the Premier League to try and establish yourself.
Yeah, it is, especially in that January window, but from what I've seen of him, I've enjoyed watching him. I think he's got a lot of potential, especially at his young age. I think the thing that impresses me is his positioning to intercept the ball and also his body positioning in 1v1 battles. I think sometimes with defenders that comes a bit later, but he seems to have that already, and there's certainly a lot to build on, and his pace as well is something that really helps that back line.
And there's Bournemouth's Ilya Zabani in possession, the centre-back who's earned rave reviews in the Premier League this season. Bit of room opening up here for Dovbyk, who lays it off. The shot from Sihankov was blocked just inside the Romanian penalty area, and you get the sense that they're building a little bit of momentum here. Ukraine, 7 minutes gone, Romania 0, Ukraine 0.
Yeah, and I think Dovbyk actually wanted to lay that off a little bit quicker in terms of that movement to get on the ball from his teammates. Wasn't quite quick enough, and then you see the shot, it gets blocked because Romania have chance to collapse the space and get bodies in front of the ball.
Here's Mudryk again down this left-hand side, the far side as we look at it. Lays it off towards Stepanenko, but there was a good foot in there in midfield, and now they can look to break with Denis Draguc here. Romania waiting for support to arrive. It was played in towards the edge of the box. It's only half cleared. Right foot shot, and that's straight at the goalkeeper. It's Florinel Coman who had the effort. He's only ever scored once for his country. He's around about 25 yards out. Right foot shot straight at Lunin. No problem for the goalkeeper.
Yeah, and I think that's probably one of Romania's main tenets. You see that in terms of taking on shots from range, and I think sometimes it's a little bit of overexcitement in a way. They get themselves into the final third, which they don't do too often, and they want to get the shot off. It's not a bad effort, but as you mentioned, it's not going to trouble Lunin from there, and I think they just maybe need to take the extra pass to create a better opportunity.
Slight concern for Zabani, who's moving a little bit gingerly just in the Ukrainian defensive line. Courtney mentioned that sometimes struggle to score goals, Romania. Their warm-up games weren't exactly inspiring. They drew 0-0 with both Bulgaria and Liechtenstein. Long ball here for Ukraine towards Dovbyk, right edge of the penalty area. Lays it off towards Sihankov, his clubmate at Girona. Now Shaparenko. It's great to see him back out there, Mykola Shaparenko. He missed the whole of qualifying with an ACL injury, but is back in the squad and back in the team. Nice little turn from Sihankov, finding Joachim Konoplia, the right back who played in 9 of the 10 qualifiers. He's very much established as the first choice right back for Ukraine now, Joachim Konoplia. And here is Mudryk taking on Ratiu. Comes in on his right foot, lays it off to Zinchenko, backing him up. Forward now towards Sudakov. We'll see him roaming around trying to get involved, but on this occasion he's forced out of play by Dragushin, and that's going to be a throw into Romania.
Yeah, Dragushin does so well there. He just bides his time. You see so many defenders there just jump in, give away needless free kicks, but he just stands firm and forces the error.
Throw in by Ratiu on that right hand side for Romania. Andre Ratiu of Rayo Vallecano got rave reviews for a wonderful performance against Vinicius Junior in one of the games. And a bit of space for Matvienko. Does like to be in possession. He was linked with Brighton a few times actually when Roberto De Zerbi was the coach with Brighton. De Zerbi worked with him at Shakhtar. Big admirer of the centre-back. He's been with Shakhtar since 2009.
I think now the sort of game, the way it's going to pan out, we're starting to see it. Ukraine being in possession, You see Romania going back into the 4-1-4-1, just in the block and trying to do everything they can to defend the space, both in front and behind. And now it's a case for Ukraine. How do they unlock that? How is it a case of getting the likes of Mudryk on the ball and getting him to run at players, or is it moving the ball more quickly through the thirds?
Sudakov in possession now, the kind of player that can do that, can unlock that kind of block. He's been doing it time and time again at club level with Shakhtar Donetsk. He's only 21, Georgi Sudakov, the number 14 for Ukraine. And he has been strongly linked with a move to the Premier League and elsewhere. But Shakhtar intending on driving a hard bargain. Played here towards Dovbyk, edge of the area. A roar of anticipation as he tried to latch onto that throw-in, but Romania had numbers back there. Yeah, and initially he does really well, uses his strength, holds the defender off, but just on the turn it gets stuck under his foot a little bit and he can't quite get away quick enough. Here's Sihankov, jinking infield from that right touchline. That's what he loves to do. Comes in on that left foot, causes havoc. Now it's with Zinchenko. Of course, can play left back or in midfield. Nice little drop of the shoulder by Sudakov, finding Mudryk left edge of the penalty area. Back to Sudakov, who shot this charge down. Sudakov and Mudryk really close friends. They speak most days. They grew up together at Shakhtar. They have a nice little click there. Yeah, and I think that's always great as a footballer. When you're on the pitch and you have that link with someone and you don't have to think about it, it's just, it happens. It's almost telepathic, and you can see with those two how well they work together. Konoplia back to Matvienko. 12 minutes gone in Munich. Romania 0, Ukraine 0, but Ukraine starting to build some momentum as there's a long ball that skeets out of play. Mentioned the coach of Romania, Edward Iordanescu, was his 46th birthday yesterday, and we would love to celebrate with an opening win. Romania looking to escape the group stage of this tournament for the first time since Euro 2000. Ended up beating England in the final group game famously, but then lost their quarter-final to Italy. That win over England, their only win in 16 games at European Championship finals. It's the lowest win rate of any side to play at the tournament multiple times. Bit of space here down the left-hand side for Coman. He tried to just flip it over the top for the run of Denis Draguš, who is leading the line for Romania. Here's Ratiu in space on the right-hand side. Zinchenko for company, tried to step over. Zinchenko wasn't buying it, stood up strong and got the clearance in, and now there's lots of space down the right-hand side for Ukraine and Sihankov. Slaloming run by him, right edge of the penalty area. His cross is deflected and is caught by Florin Mita before the ball can rebound behind. But that was a concern for Romania there on the counter-attack. Lots of space. Yeah, it was, and Romania actually initially did really well. We've seen them play long from the back quite a lot, but they play through the thirds. It starts with the fullback, they play through the midfield out the other side to the left winger and actually set it up really well. But it starts from Coman. When he just lifts that ball over the top, it's a bit of a nothing ball. He's just trying to play the odds, and from there, because they've committed so many bodies forward, Romania, Ukraine do so well on the counter-attack, but it's at that last moment where you need a little bit of quality. Probably wasn't good enough. Romania are a hard team to break down. They've managed 9 clean sheets in their last 15 games. Their defensive record in the qualifiers was excellent. Just 5 goals conceded in 10 games. They finished 5 points clear of Switzerland in the end. And now trying to advance down this right-hand side. Flooding forward here, but a really strong challenge. Stepanenko doing what he does best, coming across and being the glue in that midfield, getting a foot in and stopping that Romanian attack before it could really get started. Yeah, and I think actually for Ukraine, this will do them a little bit of a favour if they can find the balls forward more quickly, because when they're in the low block, Romania, Ukraine were really struggling to break them down, but now there's a little bit of space. They're almost drawing them out a little bit to then try and find that ball forward, but they've got to be better with their quality into the forward line. The voice there of the former Liverpool, Everton and Sheffield United striker Courtney Sweetman-Kirk alongside Kevin Hatchard for this one. Quarter of an hour gone. Romania 0, Ukraine 0, their first game of Euro 2024. Belgium and Slovakia, the other teams in this group. Matvienko tries to drive it out towards Mudryk on that left-hand side. It sailed over his head. Mihailo Mudryk came to Chelsea with a big price tag, big reputation. Hasn't quite happened for him yet, but there have been glimpses.
Yeah, you're right, exactly with that. It's glimpses, it's moments, and I think that's always the thing, isn't it? When you come to the Premier League with a price tag, with a reputation, you've got not just the eyes of England on you, but all around the world, and he's maybe struggled with that a little bit at times, but he'll hope that next season he can change that and find more consistency in his performances for Chelsea.
Bit of space here for Nikushaw Banku, the left back who loves to get forwards. Out to Coman on this near side, the Romanian left. Comes in on his right foot, lays it off to Stanciu, full of ideas, plays it to the edge of the area for Draguš, who tried to turn, but too many blue shirts back there. He was swarmed, and Ukraine able to clear. Just too many players to spin his way through.
Yeah, Ukraine did really well there in terms of getting back in a defensive shape that was difficult to break down. They're being patient on the ball at the minute. Yes, Romania, they were completely out of shape in that moment when they won the ball back, but actually to try and play that ball forward and potentially lose it again when they didn't have too many bodies further up the field, Ukraine, the right idea, just to be patient and keep the ball and try and wear Romania down with the possession.
Lovely diagonal from Zabani there. It's a slight slip, but Sudakov recovered and then was just levered off it, and the referee actually gives it the other way and gives it Romania's way. You are listening to Euro Game Day Live on TalkSport 2, presented by Carling, the UK's #1 lager. 18 plus, please drink responsibly. And Sudakov just slipped at the vital moment there, otherwise he could have had some space.
Yeah, he did, and he gets back up quickly, but then the ball gets away from him and he charges into Marin. I think he's trying to atone for his error, but with a bit too much vigour, let's say, and completely misses the ball. But I don't mind that idea from Ukraine. I like that, being in possession, keep the ball, but actually when they see the opportunity to play the long diagonal, it's on, and it was a good ball. It's just a shame about the touch.
Space there for the Romanian centre-back Burka, trying to swing it out to the far side as we look at it, the Romanian right, but once again Ukraine able to win it back. Ukraine have only lost 5 of their last 30 internationals, have kept clean sheets in 9 of their last 20 games, so they are a tough team to beat. They're always going to get plenty of support in Germany. They've played some of their qualifiers in Germany, they've played friendlies in Germany. Shakhtar have played Champions League games in the country too, with those games not able to take place in Ukraine, of course, because of the war there. And it is estimated that more than 1 million Ukrainian refugees have settled in Germany, so there is going to be that widespread support.
It's not just Germany, is it? I think it's certainly all around Europe as well.
Here's Konoplia, the flame-haired right back, picking up possession for Ukraine. Sihankov moves it infield, and now Shaparenko back to Zabani, who seems okay, picked up a bit of a knock a few minutes ago, but is moving freely now. 19th minute, Romania 0, Ukraine 0, in searing heat in Munich. Here comes Matvienko, just moving past the first line of pressure. It is gentle pressure from Romania, happy to stay in their shape and not engage. And now work through to Mudryk, and they lose out there. Shaparenko's done brilliantly to win that back, actually. Draguš seemed favourite to get there, but Shaparenko, tenacious, terrier-like, got in there.
Yeah, it was Siankov, wasn't it? It was poor, his touch, but his movement has been very good, and between Koeman and Banku, they're not sure who should be picking him up because he's been very intelligent with his movement, but that touch has to be better.
Space here for Stanciu, and he tries to go over the top, and he overhit that ball, really, looking for Dennis Mann down the right-hand side, and Edward Iordanescu in his smart suit on the edge of his technical area, not very happy with what he just saw.
I'm not surprised, because actually it's the right idea. Mann found himself in a bit of space down that right-hand side, but the ball into him was poor. You've just got to hang it up in that area, just in the wing for him to run onto, and really, for players of this quality, that's a simple ball that they should be finding.
20 minutes gone on Euro Game Day Live on TalkSport 2, 0-0. Romania and Ukraine. Here's Konoplia, booming cross towards the far post. It was over the head of Dovbyk, and it swung away by Ratiu. But again, Ukraine able to win it back rather calmly. Ukraine have had 70% of the possession so far, have completed 187 passes to Romania's 39. The pattern is set. Here is Konoplia, drives the cross in from the right-hand side and cleared at a stretch by Burka, and that's behind for a corner to Ukraine.
And that's becoming a bit more frequent, isn't it now, in terms of Ukraine getting down that right-hand side, whether it be the winger or the fullback, and trying to find them balls into Dovbyk, but as yet they've just not quite been good enough to find the big centre forward.
Deafening roar around the stadium. There's a vibrant atmosphere in Munich, no doubt about that, and it will be Sihankov to take. It'll be an in-swinger, left-footed towards the near post, headed up, but not really away, but the clearance is completed. Now Zinchenko takes the ball on his chest, tries to force it back into the area, and a nice turn here by Dovbyk, and he got right underneath it, 20 yards out, and the ball flies over the crossbar, but he is capable from that kind of range.
Yeah, he is, and you see that quick turn and shoot. In terms of the back lift, it's actually quite short, but it was the fact that his body was leaning back, flies well over the bar, but as you say, he's more than got the quality to hit the target and score from that sort of area.
Romania have given the ball up to Dovbyk, and he has it now wide on the right-hand side. He was driven too wide, actually, by Sihankov. It was a rather careless pass, but it was good foraging in the first place by Dovbyk, and he's a big, strong guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, but he's actually quite athletic as well. He's got a bit of pace both with and without the ball. I know there's been a lot of comparisons between him and Erling Haaland, and you can see why. Very similar sort of skill sets and in terms of that stature as well.
I always wonder what Haaland thinks about that, having everybody compared to him. I suppose it's a nice compliment. And Dovbyk again working hard to win possession for Ukraine wide on the right-hand side, but Romania were able to clear it. But Courtney, every time Romania get it, they're just really struggling to get out, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, and there's that moment where they don't want to try and play out from the back too much, because obviously they don't want to get caught in their final third and present a good opportunity to Ukraine. And the times where they have been more direct, the quality on the ball just hasn't been good enough, so they've got to find the sweet spot of, yes, being direct and going forward quickly, but doing that with quality.
Now they work it to this right-hand side, slip through towards the edge of the area, and Dragush out to Ratiu. That was better. Cross was deflected though, and into the gloves of Andriy Lunin, who got the nod ahead of Anatoly Trubin for this opening game.
As I say, Ratiu, he finds himself in a good position. It just comes off the head, doesn't it, of Zinchenko in the end, but just taking a little bit more care. It's almost just trying to be chipped into the box to an area. I want it to be a bit more deliberate in those areas.
24th minute in Munich, Romania 0, Ukraine 0. Here's Konoplia again, down this right-hand side. He's been a regular outlet for them, finds Sihankov trying to dance his way past the challenge on the edge of the area, but big Andrei Burka stood strong, and the ball goes behind for a corner.
And he did, but again, that link-up, Konoplia down that right-hand side with his winger. It's going to cause some problems if they can get the ball into the box with quality to Dovbyk. I think that's where Ukraine are going to break Romania open.
It is a corner then for Ukraine, and Sihankov raises his right hand and puts it into really poor delivery though, really flat, easily cleared by Romania. Zinchenko across the cover to stop the counter-attack, but Ukraine have to be better than that.
I think that's been the story for Sihankov as well so far. I think he's got himself in some brilliant positions, but in terms of that end product, the ball into the box, whether it be from the deliveries from the corner or in the wide areas, it's certainly not been good enough so far.
We've got 8 goals and 7 assists in La Liga this season for Girona. Got 3 goals in the qualifiers. Scored against Iceland in that playoff final, but he hasn't quite sparked into life just yet. Edward Iordanescu, I can tell you, the Romanian coach, is shouting himself hoarse at the moment. Not a happy man with some of the things he's seen so far. He said he can sincerely promise his fans that players will give absolutely everything on the pitch. Said that Ukraine have some good experienced players, some players who play in England, and they are dangerous. Here is Sihankov again, but again he just dwelt on it a little too long and challenge was swiftly made by Nikushaw Banku.
I think he just gets caught in two minds. Knopfler does really well. He actually then makes the movement inside this time. It's been the opposite way around for most of the game, but you can see when he goes face to face with the player, he's not quite sure what he wants to do. He's playing inverted, so he's trying to get it onto his left foot as well, and by the time he's sort of made that decision, the moment's gone and the defender's come in and made the challenge, and Banku does well.
If you are that sort of player who comes in on your left foot or comes in on your right, you need your fullback to be really attack-minded, I'm guessing.
Yeah, certainly, and if he's going to come inside, then actually Knopfler probably needs to start going on the outside and not go on the inside so much, because it just cuts down in terms of what Ukraine can do.
Shaparenko trying to switch the play to the left-hand side. Mudryk has got in there. It was a mistake by Ratiu, and to his credit, he really recovered strongly. That was brilliant, because he could so easily have panicked there and brought Mudryk down, but he didn't, and he managed to win the ball back, and now it's Romania on the attack with Dragush. Now Razvan Marin down the right-hand side. It's a twisting, turning run by Dennis Mann, and the ball deflects behind for a corner, and that was much, much better from Romania.
The initial touch, by the way, by Dragush, absolutely wonderful. Brings it down with the side of his foot, and then he's busting a gut to get back in the box, and I suppose that was the only problem, the fact that he dropped so deep that when Romania did get high up that right-hand side, they didn't have enough bodies in the box if they would have liked.
Corner then to Romania. 27 minutes gone here on Euro Game Day Live on TalkSport 2. It'll be Dennis Mann of Parma in Italy who will take this corner. It'll be left-footed, it'll be an in-swinger. It's got some big targets to aim for. Whipped in, only half cleared, and in the end Ukraine are able to smash it up towards halfway. Set pieces from both teams haven't really been up to scratch so far.
No, but I think you could see what Romania were trying to do there. Marin, he was running across that front post. I think he was trying to get the flick on, but then doesn't quite get the contact that he needs on the ball in the end. But certainly for Romania more so, I think they really need to take care over their set pieces, because that's going to be their main way of scoring in the game.
Space here for Stanciu, who is the creative heartbeat of this team. Nikolai Stanciu plays his football in Saudi Arabia. But he only scored 4 league goals this season. He did get 3 in the qualifiers. Here he is again, Stanciu, trying to play around the corner, inside right channel, 25 yards out, but Ukraine able to clear through Stepanenko. Such a good insurance policy in front of that defensive line. Crossing the right-hand side, too close to Lunin. And Ukraine win possession back. Andriy Lunin, who so important in Real Madrid's Champions League winning campaign, but he missed the final. There was a feeling that Thibaut Courtois was going to be picked ahead of him anyway, but he was also ill in the week of the final, and he only actually made it to Wembley very, very late to, as it turned out, join in the celebrations. A terrible clearance here by Lunin though, and now a shot from the edge of the area is an absolute stunner! Nikolai Stanciu, their captain, their inspiration, right-footed drive, edge of the area, and it flew into the top corner. Ukraine gave up possession, they were punished. It's Romania 1, Ukraine 0.
Well, what a strike this is, by the way. I mentioned earlier, Romania, they have a lot of shots from outside the box. Sometimes they're quite low percentage, and this one was, but Stanciu, wow. The quality, the whip on this ball is incredible. Ukraine, though, they've only got themselves to blame. It's Matvienko, I think, with the poor ball back to his goalkeeper. That's where it comes from. There's not enough on it. It gets closed down. Lunin, it's a really poor ball out from him. But from this moment, Stanciu, the more we see it on the replays, the absolutely better it gets. The ball's coming over from the right-hand side. He's got to whip it with his right foot. Left-hand side of the goal, top right-hand corner. The way that he has to swivel his hips to generate the power and direction on this ball is absolutely incredible. What a wonderful goal.
Well, good leadership from Alexander Zinchenko. Went straight to Lunin to build him back up after that error. But wow, what a strike from Nikolai Stanciu. His 15th international goal, and what a goal. He's the one that in all the previews people have said he's the one that can make something happen. in the blink of an eye, and boy did he do that. And Romania, against the odds, against expectation, have taken the lead against Ukraine. And now Ukraine, who came from behind in the playoff semi-final, came from behind in the playoff final, they've got to dig deep again.
Yeah, they have. And actually, it was a good passage of play from Romania for that 3 or 4 minutes, putting pressure on, keeping the ball in that Ukrainian defensive third. And I was going to say, when you keep putting this pressure on, can you make something from it? Well, wow, they have in the most spectacular of fashions.
Nikolai Stanchu, who has been around the block. He's played in Romania, in Czechia, in Saudi Arabia, in Belgium, and China. And on the big stage, he has delivered in Romania's opening game of Euro 2024. And the Romanian fans, decked out in yellow, red and blue, are bouncing all around this cavernous stadium in Munich. But Ukraine will be so disappointed with the nature of the goal. I mean, you have to hold your hands up sometimes if somebody smashes one in from the edge of the D, but he should never have got the chance.
No, it shouldn't have, and it comes from Razvan Marin, the fact that he wants to go, he wants to try and press the goalkeeper. That puts Lunin under pressure. Should he do better? Of course he should, a goalkeeper of his quality. But from then on, Stanchu, wow, can't tell you how difficult that is. When the ball's come across from your right-hand side, you've got to change your body shape. You're to the right-hand side of the goal, and to be able to whip it with that amount of pace and quality into the top left-hand corner, it is so difficult.
Referee just having a word with Stanchu and a couple of his Ukrainian opponents. You are listening to Euro Game Day live on TalkSport 2, presented by Burger King. Bring home the ultimate food satisfaction. Get your favourites delivered now. Free kick won down the left-hand side by Denis Dragush, who is a standard Liège player but has been on loan in Turkey with Gaziantep. 15 goals this season, including 4 in his final 4 games of the season, and he's actually played with a fair bit of confidence.
Yeah, he's done well. It's really clever in terms of protecting the ball there, making sure that if the defender's going for it, he's got to come through the back of him, and that's what happened in this now. Just in line with the edge of the 18-yard box, right near the throw-in line, probably a yard or so in. It's a really good opportunity for Romania to double the lead.
33 on the watch. Romania 1, Ukraine 0. Here on TalkSport 2. Stanchu to take this free kick, whipped in well and headed away by Dovbyk. It was excellent defending by the striker, and he's put it behind for a corner.
Really had to be, because yet again by Stanchu, the way that he whips that ball and swivels his hips really quickly to get the power, the pace and the bend on that ball, and it was hurtling into a really good area.
Stanchu would like a ball to be able to take this corner with. He's struggling to get one at the moment. It is quite some scene, I can tell you, behind that goal. The Romanians are having a party, and it is a loud one. Stanchu to take. Eventually, just having a word with Denis Mann. Referee just sorting out a bit of pushing and shoving. Dragushin is right next to Zinchenko, and let me tell you, that is a mismatch. But he has now moved away from him. They've gone short. Denis Mann's cross was blocked easily, and now Ukraine will look to counter-attack. And Sudakov was just levered off that ball all too easily as he looked to hit on the counter. Here is Bancu for Romania, and that's blocked for a throw on the near side, the left for Romania, which they take quickly. Flick-on was towards Coman, but he couldn't quite get there. Romania really looking lively since that goal. They sense an opportunity here to go on and get a second and take full control of this game. As Denis Mann comes in field onto his left, tries to play the reverse ball, but that's swept clear by Ukraine.
Yeah, and I think it's good by Romania, the fact that they want to do that. How many teams do you see that come in, maybe not the favourites like Romania are today? They get that goal in front and then they sit back, they go into a low block, they try and protect the lead. But Romania, they've been brilliant going forward, putting more pressure on Ukraine, and I think they can sense that it's certainly a vulnerable moment for the Ukrainians. And as you say, if they were to get that second goal and give themselves a cushion, they'd put themselves in a really good position in this game.
This is the first ever competitive meeting of these sides. They've previously met in 6 friendlies. Romania won the first 3. Ukraine won 2 of the last 3, but they're behind in this game, thanks to that wonderful strike from Nikolai Stanchuk. Here's Mudryk going the long way round, left-footed cross, and the defensive header from Dragushin just about clears the bar. Brilliant play by Mudryk to put him under pressure, and the Spurs defender did just enough.
Yeah, he did, but you saw that moment. He's looking round thinking, where is this ball heading? Comes off the top of his head, and thankfully for him, a sigh of relief as it flies over the crossbar, but could have quite easily troubled his own goalkeeper there.
Dragushin making the calming gesture to others. I think he was the one that needed to be calmed down there. They've taken the corner short, and it's out to Sihankov. Onto that left foot, right corner of the penalty area, curling cross to the far post. And it's only half away, and then Mudryk volleyed it goalwards, and it was cleared off the line. And that is the closest Ukraine have come. And now at the other end, Ukraine are looking to break. It was Coman with a good surge into the Ukrainian half. He slowed it down now, and he finds Ratiu. End-to-end stuff in Munich. Now it's jabbed towards Razvan Marin, and it's gone beyond him and behind for a goal kick. But that was a fine effort from Mudryk in the end.
Yeah, it was a really good ball by Siankov as well, and I think when Mudryk strikes this, I'm not sure if it comes off Stepanenko. It does. His captain just flies at him. He can't adjust his body quick enough. He's only a few yards out, but hits him, and fortunately for Romania, goes the opposite way to the goal.
Yeah, hits his own player in the end, and it was going across the face of goal rather than towards it. I thought initially from the angle it had been cleared off the line, but it would have gone wide, that effort. There's Zabani sweeping up at the other end for Ukraine. And now Matvienko. Romania just happy to drop off a bit, have a bit of a breather in the afternoon sun. And now a long ball towards Dovbyk, edge of the area, twisting and turning, lays it off. Sihankov's shot, that was charged down by Dragushin. It's only half away. Mudryk, can he get the shot away? And Sudikov is beaten to it. And that was excellent scrambling defending from Romania. It had to be. Here goes Ratiu down the right hand side for Romania, the far side as we look at it. That's a man in his left foot. The shot goes a whisker wide off the far post. Lunin was absolutely motionless. Dennis Mann cutting inside on his left, went for goal. It took a deflection. Lunin was beaten.
Yeah, and it was really close, only probably about half a yard the way it bounced outside the far post. Everyone in the stadium, I think, held their breath to see where it was going, and it's another opportunity for Romania to get the ball in the box.
It's causing all kinds of problems down that right hand side, Dennis Mann at the moment. 39th minute, Romania 1, Ukraine 0. The goal from Nikolai Stanchuk, the difference at the moment, and it was a stunner. Corner here for Romania from the near side, the left. It'll be an in-swinger from the goal scorer Nikolai Stanchuk. And he whips it in towards the far post, and the goalkeeper was really struggling, and it's been cleared. Lunin looked as though that was going to sail over him. Romania trying to keep the pressure on, and now Mudryk will look to clear, but he's run into a brick wall there. But the goalkeeper was really struggling with that corner, and did it flick the post?
Yeah, it was caught in no man's land a bit, wasn't he? And the way it's curling back in, it does. It comes off the bottom half of the crossbar. Luckily for Lunin, bounces away from the line and back out. But again, it's all about that delivery, the way that he whips it with so much curl back across into the goal, and Romania are well on top at the moment.
Yeah, Lunin was really struggling there, and had it been a touch lower, that would have been a goal straight from a corner. And Lunin, who made the error that led to Stanchuk's goal, does look nervous, no doubt about it. Here's Konoplia, wide on the right for Ukraine, in an advanced position, back to Sihankov, who spins infield and finds Zabani, pushing up from centre-back. Has the composure and the confidence to do that. Now Stepanenko, the captain, works it to Matvienko. Romania very deep here, allowing Ukraine to push up as we move into the final 5 minutes of normal time in this first half. So Romania have hit the bar, and they've had a shot deflected just wide, and that's all since they took the lead. Here's Stepanenko though for Ukraine, and now Sihankov inside right channel, shifted out to Konoplia forwards, and it was a poor ball. Although, was he expecting Sihankov to make a different run? It's out for a goal kick.
Yeah, potentially, but I think spoke about it earlier in terms of Sihankov and Konoplia. They've got to recognise each other's strengths and weaknesses, and that ball by Konoplia down the line when Sihankov, he doesn't like playing on his right foot. You can see he's all left foot. He constantly wants it on his left foot. So to play that ball down the line there, I think it's the wrong decision. But you've got to give credit to Romania. They're picking and choosing their moments. So there you see they're getting a really low block, really difficult to play around. But when the moment presents itself, they're going forward, they're attacking, and they're keeping the pressure on Ukraine.
Ball towards Sihankov, but he was beaten to it by the left-back Bancu. He's done a decent job down that left-hand side for Romania. He's had plenty to deal with Konoplia and Sihankov. Here is the red-haired Konoplia. He moves in field now, and he finds a bit of space for Sudakov in the centre circle. Forward to Mudryk now. Mudryk forward to Dovbyk in the area, and that's really strong defending by Andrei Burka, who just moved across, shoulder-to-shoulder challenge on Dovbyk, didn't let him get the shot away, and that was outstanding play from the Romanian centre-back.
Yeah, it was, and gets congratulated by his teammates, rightly so. I think Dovbyk's expecting the challenge to come in, but it doesn't. He almost gestures to go and then stops, keeps running with Dovbyk, and then just lets him run it out of play. It's very, very intelligent defending.
And then out for a goal kick. 42 minutes gone. Romania 1, Ukraine 0. All 8 games so far in Euro 2024 have had a goal in the opening 30 minutes. And 6 of the games have had at least one goal from outside the box. Got a bit of a problem here. The referee, Glenn Nyberg, just calling the medics on because there does seem to have been a head injury. There's a concern here with a Romanian player down on the floor being attended to. But overall, Courtney, Romania weren't the favourites coming into this game, but the game plan seems to be working at the moment, and they have looked more and more dangerous as the half has worn on.
Yeah, they have. I've been really impressed with them. In terms of the game intelligence and the game management, I mentioned it a few moments ago, the way that they're going forward, they're attacking, they're putting that pressure on when the moment is right, and then, taking the times, taking that breather, sitting into the low block. You can't do that high press and attack for 90 minutes of the game. It's just not physically possible. So they're doing very well at just reading the game and knowing when to sit back, knowing when to attack. And for them now, in these last few moments, this first half, it's just about keeping switched on, making sure you don't concede late in this half. And it'll be a very happy team talk at half-time if it stays like this.
I'm going to hazard a guess that there's going to be a fair bit of sunburn tonight with some of these Romanian fans. A lot of the shirts have come off. It is blazing sunshine in Munich. And unless the factor 50 has been slapped on, I think there might be a little bit of soreness in the morning, but if the scoreline stays like this, those Romanian fans won't care about that.
One half the stadium absolutely bathed in the bright sunshine, isn't it? As you mentioned, I think there'll be a few sore heads for potentially many reasons if it stays like this tomorrow.
Here's Zabani. We've moved into the final minute of normal time at the end of this first half, and Ukraine need to find some answers. Here is Zabani now. Ukraine 1-0 down. Goal from Nikolai Stanchu, giving Romania the advantage, and they've won it again. Here is Stanchu. Just shifting away from pressure, and then he was fouled. There was no need to foul him there, but Sudakov couldn't resist. And Stanchu, since the goal, that adrenaline's been pumping. He's wanted to get on the ball. That's what you always want to see, isn't it, Courtney? You want players who want to get involved, don't hide.
Yeah, and I think throughout this first half, he was certainly the one that was trying to pull the strings, make things happen. But as the half's gone on, after he scored the goal especially, you're just seeing him grow into the game, the confidence, the stature, the influence that he's having. And he's certainly enjoying himself out there.
Space here for Coman. For Romania down the left-hand side, approaching the corner of the box. He was challenged by Konoplia. Referee says that's okay, and Sihankov loses it to the left-back Bancu, and then the referee gives the free kick Ukraine's way, and they were relieved about that because they were short-handed there. Here is Ratiu, the right-back, who's Had a couple of shaky moments against Mudryk, but by and large has done a good job against him. Ukraine just haven't been able to create the chances they would have wanted to in this first half, but they might now with Sudikov rolling it into the penalty area, not on the same wavelength as his good friend Mudryk there, and the ball rolls harmlessly towards Florin Nita, the veteran goalkeeper for Romania.
I wouldn't go as far as to say is panic in terms of the way that Ukraine are playing, but you see a little bit more urgency, but it's not urgency in a good way that sometimes that we're seeing getting forward and maybe injecting a little more pace and tempo. It's a little bit more ragged and they're a little bit too desperate at the moment to try and get back on the score sheet, which is understandable, but they've got to be a little bit more patient, I think, in the second half. Ukraine
have conceded the opening goal in 9 previous games at Euros finals, and they've gone on to lose 8 of them. The exception was a 2-1 win over Sweden back in 2012. So you can understand that trepidation that is starting to creep in. Good strong challenge by Zinchenko, stepping out of defence to win that ball for Ukraine, who trail 1-0 here on TalkSport 2. Konoplia 10 yards shy of halfway. Now they roll it out to Shaparenko, drives it long down the inside right channel looking for Sudikov, but he just couldn't get away from the back line, and that was always going to be a tough ball to catch up with, and the goalkeeper able to come out and patch it.
I think Sudikov is certainly getting frustrated. He wants to be that influential figure in that free role and is played all across the line, but just can't quite influence the game.
Half-time in Munich and a surprise on the cards. It is Romania who have the half-time lead. A stunning goal from the edge of the D from Nikolai Stanchu after an error from the Ukrainian goalkeeper Andriy Lunin. Ukraine must improve after half-time, and at the break it is Romania 1, Ukraine 0 on TalkSport 2.
Euro Game Day Live on TalkSport 2 with Carly, the UK's #1 lager. 18 plus, always drink responsibly.
Let's go live to hear about that winning goal.
The crowd's gone absolutely wild here. How on earth do you sum up your emotions right now?
Amazing. A hat-trick is just the best feeling ever.
Is it though? Is kicking a ball into the back of a net really better than food fulfillment from Burger King? That warm, fuzzy feeling of total food satisfaction, like finishing the last bite of a Gourmet King's Barbecue Steakhouse Angus.
No.
Correct. Burger King. That's food fulfillment.
This tournament, prepare for greatness with William Hill. Get ready for last-minute winners, legendary goals, and straight red cards. Oh, what was he thinking? Win 25% more on every single game this tournament with Bet Builder Extra, online or in the app, only from William Hill. Available day before match to kick-off. Bet Builders are 3+ selections at 3-1 or more. Pre-match singles, match stake £20. Full T's and C's apply. 18+, begambleaware.org.
You could skydive out of a plane or swim with sharks. You might even skinny dip in icy cold waters. Or you could get that inexpressible high, that guaranteed rush from finding just the thing you wanted, the thing you needed, at a great sale price. IKEA Summer Sale, now on. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
Well, you can see why people are talking about Asda, can't you?
Of course, on paper, Asda have a great lineup with 2 for £7 on Coke 8 packs. Then there's pizza price drops, including the talented spicy chicken fajita flavour and classic 4-cheese deep dish. Worth £3 each, now £2 each.
And don't forget the dependable garlic flatbread was £1.80, now £1.50. What a lineup!
Get match ready at Asda this summer. Asda, that's more like it. Selected stores online subject to availability. Coke 330ml, £4.25 each. Pizzas and flatbread end 17th of July. May exclude express and small stores. See asda.com/small stores.
Here she is, the 3-time world champion. What has she got in store for us today? Things are starting to heat up. Here she goes.
Triple builders, double stir. I don't believe it. And a chocolate digestive to finish it off. A thing of beauty. You have to say, the judges are gonna love this one.
British Gas, powering home fans during this summer of sport.
This Euros, The Sun is bringing you all the gossip, goals and giants of the game. Get insights and analysis from Harry, should have been England manager, Redknapp, Jack, the maestro, Wilshere, Gordon, no nonsense, Strachan, and Jurgen, the winner, Klinsmann. You won't want to miss it. Don't miss out, only in The Sun.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
On the beach, on the beach, on the beach.
Booking geniuses. Get up to 5 gigs of free mobile data for your holiday when you book with On the Beach. FaceTime, Facebook, and a face full of patatas bravas. On the Beach. Book like a genius. Holiday like a fool.
Conditions and exclusions apply. ATOL protected.
On the beach.
Euro Game Day Live, delivered by TalkSport 2 with Burger King. What's better than a last-minute winner? A crispy chicken royale delivered straight to your door.
TalkSport 2.
24 teams, 10 host cities, 1 glittering prize.
Pump up your summer.
Euro Game Day Live
on TalkSport 2.
Treffers!
Kylian Mbappe, right-footed, saved by Jan Sommer! The world champions are out!
I think the loss to Switzerland quickly at the Euros was psychologically like, okay, we let the country down. And we can't do that again.
Mbappe has a hat-trick. He has his place in history.
The France, for me, are the roadblock. It's an obvious thing to say, but you look at the quality of players they've got, the mindset they've got, the experience they've got. They've been over this track before.
With France, we don't need 2, 3, 4 occasions to score. When they come, we take it.
Where are the weak points? And there aren't many.
Griezmann is through. It's 4. Alaba with a high ball into the area. Arnautovic, a stooping header.
The only concern about them is some key players missing. No Sasha Kalajdzic up front. The goalkeeper's missing. Schlager, he's injured. Sava Schlager in midfield, he's injured as well. And no David Alaba as well. Austria against France. Our live commentary on TalkSport from 8 o'clock. Joe Shannon and the former Scotland striker Chris Owelamo on that one. So Austria-France at 8. And we've also got Belgium-Slovakia at 5 today on the TalkSport network. Nigel Adderley and Dean Ashton on the mic for that one. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk alongside Kevin Hatchard for our game, which is Romania 1, Ukraine 0 at half-time. But let's look at this Austria-France game, Courtney. We've had some big names who've started the tournament with a bang. Jude Bellingham, Jamal Musiala started so well. Are we going to see the same from Kylian Mbappe?
Well, I hope so. I think all football fans, you want to see, the best footballers play on the biggest stage, and obviously in light of his transfer to Real Madrid as well, all the spotlight is on him to perform, and I think for me it should be a game that France should win, and he should be at the forefront of everything. He'll want to kick it off with a bang, and I think that's, as a footballer, the start of a tournament, you want to try and get in there as quickly as possible, and that's not, it depends, how the back of the season is gone, how fit you feel going into the match, but if you can start with a positive performance, very much like Jude Bellingham did last night, then it certainly sets your confidence on a high for the rest of the tournament.
He's been ill in the build-up, Mbappe. We don't know if he's going to be at 100%, but for all the talk about his future, and some people think he's a diva and what have you, I've always seen him as just an exceptional young player who just wanted control over his future.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think, as footballers, a lot gets taken away from you, and don't get me wrong, it's the best job in the world and there's so many positives for it. So, I'm not saying that footballers are hard done by any stretch of imagination, but you do give up a lot, and your friends and your family and your social life, and you're always travelling the world, you're living out of suitcases. So if you can try and have some element of control over that, where, as I mentioned, footballers don't have a lot of element of control day to day, then more power to him for that. But the biggest thing for him is if he performs on the pitch and everyone stops speaking about that sort of stuff. So for him, it's about concentrating on the game if he is to play. But either way, later on in the tournament, I'm sure that he'll prove to everyone why he is touted as one of, if not the best player in the world at the moment.
Of course, France aren't just about their captain Kylian Mbappe. So many good players apart from that. And my feeling's always been that Antoine Griezmann is actually the player that can't afford to be without.
Yeah, he's one of those, and even though he's a forward player and he's looked to, is not necessarily the most spectacular. And because of the amount of quality that France have got in that side, and you mentioned Kylian Mbappe, I think everyone always speaks about him, but as you mentioned, I think there's always a player in every team. It's normally sort of that defensive midfield area, but for me, you're right, it is Griezmann in terms of that glue that holds everyone else together, that makes everything tick. And I think without him, France are certainly a little bit of a different side, and he just brings that little bit of calmness and assuredness to this relatively young French side.
Just a word on Austria. Ralf Rangnick was in England for a short time with Manchester United, but was in the midst of a club that was rather chaotic, I think it's fair to say. But he's a guy that loves his teams to press high. He's all about energy, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And with that Manchester United team, as you mentioned, it's a club that's been in a difficult position, a little bit of disarray for a while. And in terms of the players that he had at that time, in terms of that high press, the aging squad, it just wasn't going to work. It didn't suit his style of play, and that's probably an argument for, in terms of Manchester United's management recruitment, and that shouldn't have happened because it wasn't a coming together of styles. But definitely got it in the Austria team in terms of the players that he picks, he calls up to elicit that sort of gameplay, and you can see why he is a renowned manager. Obviously it just didn't work out for him at Manchester United, but that's not the only manager for that to happen to in recent years, is it?
So France against Austria at 8. We've also got Belgium, Slovakia at 5. What do you make of Belgium? Because there's all this talk about the golden generation. Not quite sure they were ever the best team in the world or the best team in Europe. They do still have some talented players.
Yeah, and we can all have, I suppose, that argument in terms of the FIFA rankings and how you accrue points and stuff like that. But for me, I think it might have been Belgium's golden generation, but I think if that's not gone, they're certainly right at the back end of it. I don't think they're a team that's going to blow other teams away. I certainly don't see them anywhere near as favourites and near the level of Belgium or of England or France, for example, who for me are the two big favourites in the tournament. But I suppose everyone always stands a chance at a major tournament and can throw up a surprise, but I'd be, as I mentioned, very surprised if they go on to win it.
You're listening to Romania 1, Ukraine 0 live on TalkSport 2. Let's take a look back on the first half with Carly.
Halftime highlights on TalkSport 2 with Carly, the UK's #1 lager. 18 plus, always drink responsibly.
Terrible clearance here by Lunin though. And now a shot from the edge of the area. It's an absolute stunner. Nikolai Stanchu, their captain, their inspiration. Right-footed drive, edge of the area, and it flew into the top corner.
Left-hand side of the goal, top right-hand corner. The way that he has to swivel his hips to generate the power and direction on this ball is absolutely incredible. What a wonderful goal.
It really was a stunning strike from Nikolai Stanchu. And ahead of the second half, let's take a look at the odds with William Hill. Romania were the outsiders ahead of this game, but they are now evens. A draw 2-1. Ukraine 16-5. So if you think they're going to have a comeback win, their odds 16-5. That was a look at the latest odds thanks to William Hill. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
In the Zone on TalkSport 2 with William Hill. Prepare for greatness with William Hill. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
So a big second half ahead, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, because Ukraine have got to find a way of opening up this Romanian defence, but also being a little bit calmer in their play. First thing you pointed out to me once the first half was over, no shots on target from Ukraine so far.
Yeah, when you think they've just tipped over 70% possession, so they're having the majority of possession, but you're right, I think especially after the Romania goal, they're a little bit ragged at times. Yes, you need that urgency to try and get back into the game, but I think it made them a little bit ragged, especially in the final third. And for me, especially down the right-hand side, they've had a lot of possession, but in terms of that quality into the box, to the forwards, it's not been good enough. So for me, it's almost about going back to basics a little bit, try to draw Romania out of their shape and making sure the quality in the final third is good enough. That's the paramount importance for me at the moment for Ukraine.
What have Romania done well so far?
I think they've been so intelligent with their game management, because there's times where, you know, they felt they were on top and they've kept that pressure on, sometimes even high pressed a little bit when they felt that they're on top in the game, but then they've not tried to do that for a massive extended period of time. They've not tried to do that for 10-15 minutes at a time, because they know they've probably not got the quality or the fitness, especially in this heat, to do that. So when they've had to drop back into a block, they've gone back into that 4-1-4-1, been really difficult to beat. They've been aggressive as soon as it goes into their final third to win it back, and they've not given possession away too much then going forward. They've been direct, but actually they've been good with their quality into the forward line.
It has been an excellent Romanian performance so far, one that many people, myself included, didn't necessarily see coming, because I think even you listen to some Romanian fans, some Romanian journalists, it was a surprise that they qualified, a surprise that they finished 5 points ahead of Switzerland in the end. And it was that away game at Switzerland that was the key, because they were 2-0 down. Valentin Mihaila came on and scored a couple of very important goals to get that 2-2 draw. But sometimes, I guess, when you're the underdogs, is the pressure off a little bit, or is there that kind of feeling, right, we'll show you?
Yeah, there is. It works both ways. As you say, in terms of the media, there's probably not a lot of pressure, and actually I always enjoyed that a little bit as a player, that siege mentality, and thinking, right, if people have written us off or maybe against us a little bit, then let's get together, let's prove everyone wrong. So I think you certainly see that in the performances in terms of Romania. There's certainly a togetherness in the squad. They work extremely hard for each other, and what maybe, you know, they lack in a little bit of quality, they certainly make up for in that team ethic.
So Nicolae Stanciu's goal, the only goal so far, but it was a stunner from the edge of the D, right-footed effort that sailed into the top corner past Andrei Lunin, who had gifted possession to Romania in the build-up to that goal. So he has a mistake to make up for in this second period. Can Ukraine turn things around? The stats tell you that generally they don't when they concede the opening goal at European Championship finals. But history books are there to be rewritten. But in all but one of the 9 occasions in which they've conceded the opening goal at the Euros, they have gone on to lose. It'll be Romania to get us back underway in the second half, playing all in yellow and playing from left to right as we look at it. Ukraine in their chain strip of all blue with yellow numbers. They're attacking the goal away to the left-hand side. No changes to the two teams, so I'll give you the lineups. Ukraine with Lunin in goal, Zinchenko, Matvienko, Zabani and Konoplia, the back four. Just break off as Romania on a very quick attack here straight away, and a right foot shot goes just wide of the far post. It was Coman who came on in his right foot, just trying to bend that inside the far post, and didn't miss by much.
No, he didn't. You see what he's trying to do, just trying to curl it into that bottom right-hand corner. Just didn't quite get the connection. But yet again, that comes from Ukraine playing out from the back, a bit lapsadaisical. End up losing the ball, and Romania do really well to pounce on it and find an end product.
And just to complete that Ukrainian team, Shaparenko and Stepanenko in midfield, Surikov, Mudryk and Sihankov all supporting Dovbyk in the attack. As for Romania, Nita in goal, Raciu, Burka, Dragushin and Banku, the back four. Razvan Marin, Marius Marin in central midfield alongside Nicolae Stanciu. Denis Mann and Florinel Coman, the two wingers, and it is Dragush in attack. Here come Ukraine, bringing the ball out from the back with Zabani. It's made such a good impression at Bournemouth this season. Finds Konoplia, early ball towards Dovbyk, but there was only Dovbyk in the penalty area there for Ukraine, and Dragushin is able to bring it clear for Romania. But Ukraine have won it back, and here is Shaparenko. Plays for Dynamo Kyiv. Now Zabani back to Matvienko. We've seen a lot of this in the game so far. Ukraine allowed to bring the ball out from the back, but ball is just put straight out of play there, and Romania will have the throw in. And Courtney, they do not look comfortable, Ukraine, at the moment.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of possession, you're right, but as well we've seen a lot of that. We've seen Ukraine give the ball away, force the issue. That ball doesn't really need to go forward that quickly, that directly. You can play through the thirds a little bit more, but I think it's a shame for Ukraine, the amount of possession they're having, but they just can't find the quality to break Romania down. But you've got to give credit to Romania. The defensive shape has been brilliant.
Ukraine boss Serhii Rebrov was an excellent striker in his day, won 75 caps for Ukraine, played for Spurs in the Premier League, played 4 games at the 2006 World Cup, scored against Saudi Arabia. He's had success as a coach as well. Here's Mudryk down the left for Ukraine, curling cross, headed up but not really away by Dragushin, but Ratiu is able to complete the clearance. Zinchenko finds possession now for Ukraine, inside left channel, 10 yards inside the Romanian half. Can Ukraine find an answer? 1-0 down in Munich against Romania. Now it's with Sudakov on the left-hand side, right foot across to the far post again. Dragushin is there. He is a man mountain at the heart of that Romanian defence. He was always likely to be an athlete of some sort. His parents were both Romanian internationals. His father Dan was a volleyball player. His mother Svetlana was a basketball international. And his sister Mera has played basketball for Romania at youth level. Quite the family. Here's Sudakov, left corner of the penalty area. Back to Zinchenko now. Stepanenko, the captain, turning away from trouble. There is a Romanian player down, but the referee not minded to stop the play at the moment. Sihankov rolls it to Stepanenko. He curls it out to the left-hand side. Romanian fans booing here. They want the game to be stopped. Dragush is now getting to his feet. Here's Sudakov, right foot shot, and he got right underneath it. He was 25 yards out, and the ball sailed over the crossbar. It remains 1-0 Romania.
He finds himself in a good area, Sudakov, and actually that little relationship between him and Mudryk is a lot better in the movement. I think he very much kept in the same planes of movement in the first half, but there you see Mudryk, he comes in, Sudakov comes out on the left-hand side and cuts in on the right, but in the end the shot was way over the bar.
The voice of the former Liverpool, Everton and Sheffield United striker Courtney Sweetman-Kirk alongside Kevin Hatchard for this one on TalkSport 2. Euro Game Day Live. Romania leading Ukraine by a goal to nil, their first game of Euro 2024. Dennis Mann comes forward now, and it was a rather wayward pass from Razvan Marin, the Empoli midfielder, and straight out of play.
It's a shame. You saw what he was trying to do. He just wanted to open up on his right hand side and push it down the line to his teammate Mann, but again that comes from a bit of indecision on that Ukrainian left hand side, both competing for the same ball, and leaves that space for Mann.
Lovely touch there by Dragush to find Dennis Mann. His cross cleared at the near post by Ukraine, and then Mudryk can't keep the ball in. It'll be a Romanian throw on this near side, the right, level with the edge of the penalty area. Ratiu has it. The extraordinary blue hair of his, a little like Sonic the Hedgehog. Nice little turn here by Dragush, right-footed cross all the way through to the edge of the D. Stanciu, lovely turn. Can he do it again? He ends up passing the ball square, and now they've been caught out. Marius Marin has lost it, and now Ukraine are on the charge. Excellent run by Sudakov, still going. He's got options left and right, and Romania did really well to get back and get into their shape there. Mudryk has found a bit of space, and the shot by Sihankov is charged down by Ratiu, and that'll be a Ukrainian corner, but it could have been more than that.
Yeah, I don't really know how Sudakov got out of that. A couple of poor challenges really by Marin. The referee could have given a free kick at any point, but keeps on playing. It's just a shame then by the time he got to the edge of the box, Sudakov, Romania managed to get their players back and get back into a low block.
Mudryk takes the low roads, knocks it back to Zinchenko. Back out to Mudryk, approaching the left edge of the penalty area. Onto his right foot, still going. Shot charged down brilliantly. And the ball spins away for a Ukrainian throw on the far side, the right. Mudryk trying to make things happen.
Yeah, and his movement certainly in the second half already for me has been a lot better. He's trying to make things happen, get him on the ball, drawing players around him, but as soon as he gets the ball, he's got 3 or 4 players, Romanian players around him. Can he lay it off to someone else in the space that is created?
Again, diligent defending by Romania on that far side, the left, and now they can break. A really storming run by Dragush, he did brilliantly. And now Ratiu charging through the centre, out to Dennis Mann, edge of the area, onto his left foot, still going. It was a heavy touch, shot on the rebound. Oh! Absolutely stunning again! Raz Van Marin this time! They only half cleared it, Ukraine, and Raz Van Marin with a right foot shot from outside the area that flew into the bottom corner beyond Lunin. And this is dreamland for Romania. They lead Ukraine by 2 goals to 0.
What a counter-attack this is. Blink and you miss it. The pace and the power within it, the quality going forward, and Raz Van Marin, I think he's been fantastic defensively today. Always seems to be in the right place at the right time, making vital challenges. But you see this chipping in, going forward. It's absolutely exceptional the way that Romania go forward. The passing, man comes inside, you think he's going to get the shot off, he doesn't, and then it gets followed up. It's a wonderful strike, probably all of 25 yards out, just hits it hard and low. Raz Van Marin, I don't know whether Lunin's going to be disappointed with that. I don't know whether Zabani gets in his way a little bit. It certainly goes under Lunin, and I think when he looks back at that, he'll be very, very disappointed. Goalkeeper, but take nothing away from Romania. It's a fantastic counter-attacking goal.
Yeah, you've got to think that Andrei Lunin should have got down more quickly, but it's some strike from Marin. Hit it so truly after the ball had rebounded out to him after a really determined run by Dennis Mann, and with 2 super strikes from outside the box, Romania suddenly find themselves 2-0 up. And to be honest, you'd struggle to argue with that. They have been the better team so far this afternoon in Munich, and Ukraine have it all to do.
Yeah, deservedly so. 2-0 in front. The game plan has been excellent, executed extremely well by the players, and now it's about, you know, how do you hold on to this lead? But they've managed it so well so far in the first 55 minutes of this game.
High hanging ball from Matvienko, and that's pouched by the goalkeeper Florin Nita, who we've barely mentioned actually. It wasn't certain that he would get the nod today, the 36-year-old who plays in Turkey for Gaziantep, player who's won titles in Romania and Czechia. He was the Romanian Player of the Year back in 2017, but he's barely had anything to do this afternoon.
Yeah, and that's credit to the players in front of him, and I'm not just talking about the defenders. It's been a real team effort, defending from the front, shutting down space, making it very, very difficult for those Ukrainian forwards to get any joy.
4 of Romania's 5 shots have been from outside the box so far, and they have been so dangerous from range. But poor old Andrei Lunin, who wasn't certain to start this game. Anatoly Trubin, the young Benfica goalkeeper, was in the mix, but Lunin will look back on both goals and think he could have done much better.
Yeah, I certainly think that he'll be disappointed, but what Raz Van Marin does so well is takes the shot on extremely early.
Well, they've given it away here, shot deflected, and they've cleared it only as far as Dennis Mann into the Ukrainian area. Now Ratu with the shot, brilliant save this time by Lunin. Ratu trying to rattle it in at the near post, and Lunin with strong hands sends it behind for a corner. It could have been 3.
Yeah, it's Mudryk that loses possession. Stanciu does so well to pounce on the ball, he gets the shot off. Man yet again coming across the box. It's a lovely little flick back to his right back Ratu.
Here they go again, Dennis Mann from the corner, and they've touched it in from close range. Ukraine were caught out. Dennis Mann danced into the box, played it towards goal. It's not his goal, it was touched in just before it rolled home. But Romania now 3-0 up. There are Romanian fans openly weeping, and Dennis Mann skipped in, shot goalwards, it got a touch. I think it was Draguš who got the final touch, but either way, it's Romania who are 3-0 up.
Yeah, and it's a clever short corner. Stanciu, Mann, Draguš, the players that have been so involved for Romania throughout this game. That's perfect from Draguš as a centre forward. Doesn't matter if it's from 3 yards out, right place at the right time. Easiest goal he'll probably ever score, but how much does it mean to him? This side, his nation, 3-0, who would have called it?
Denis Draguš making sure. It was Denis Mann who made the run into the penalty area, slaloming run after they caught Ukraine out completely with the short corner. And there was Draguš in the 6-yard box, where all good strikers should be. And Ukraine are stunned.
What'll be upsetting, you see that short corner, not a Ukrainian player in sight, switched off. They're probably disappointed from obviously conceding the second goal, but still vulnerable, not switched on, don't go out to defend the ball very well. Man does extremely well, dances through that defence in the box and does what all good forward players should just do, put the ball in a good area, let everyone else do the rest, and Draguš certainly does that with a little tap in.
And Sergei Rebrov in his dugout looking ashen-faced. It's been a very difficult afternoon for his team so far. And Romania have sensed that they could move to a higher gear in this second half, and they have done just that. If you are just joining us on Euro Game Day Live on TalkSport 2, Nikolai Stanciu with the opener on 29 minutes. Further goals from Razvan Marin on 53 and Denis Draguš on 57. And it is Romania who are in control. You are listening to Euro Game Day Live on TalkSport 2, presented by Carling, the UK's #1 lager, 18 plus. Please drink responsibly. Romania do have a problem here. Denis Draguš is down, and he just slipped as he tried to move away from Konoplia. It seems that he's overextended something.
Yeah, it's a tough one. You see, he steps back, completely slips, almost does the splits, and you just see sort of the outside of his glutes. He was clutching very quickly, and hopefully that's not something that we'll see him depart the pitch.
Romania are preparing a double change. They're going to bring on Yanis Hadji and Valentin Mihaila. Well, for Ukraine, even though the game is slipping away from them, it's about what they do now to try and rebuild their confidence in game, because still got 2 big games to come. Belgium and Slovakia, the other teams in the group. Here is Sihankov, left edge of the penalty area. Dragushin comes across like a brick wall, wins the ball back and then clears long. And he really has been a muscular presence at the heart of that Romanian rearguard.
Yeah, he really has, and that's the reason, or one of why, Ukraine still not had a shot on target. We're ticking into the 61st minute, and it's unbelievable when you think about it that way, but you've got to give credit to the defensive shape, the willingness, the aggression, the way that they've defended in their 1v1 battles has been excellent from Romania.
Here's Shaparenko for Ukraine, plays it down the right-hand side, looking for Konoplia, but what was he really meant to do with that? He couldn't quite bring the ball under his spell. It skipped away from him and goes behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, and just saw Rachu there, really hyping the crowd up, getting them involved, all those Romania fans behind the goal, and it's interesting, and just to see how much it means to these players. And now 3-0, you think they're home and dry, barring something absolutely spectacular from Ukraine or a complete capitulation from Romania.
It's the wingers that they're changing. They're taking off Man and Coman, bringing on Valentin Mihaila and Yanis Hadji.
I think that's surprising when you look at the game, the way it's been played and how hard those wide players have to work. They're expected to join in the attack but also come back and help their full-backs out with the defensive duty, so it's a big shift for them.
Bringing Ukraine making a few changes as well. Volodymyr Brajko has come on for Taras Stepanenko. Shaparenko making way as well, as is Sihankov, and it's the veteran Andriy Yarmolenko who comes on for Sihankov in that wide area. And they brought on an extra striker as well. With Shaparenko going off, they've brought on Roman Yaremchuk, and he'll go alongside Dovbyk, you would think, in that attacking area. So 3 changes for Ukraine. They've brought on Roman Yaremchuk, Andriy Yarmolenko and Volodymyr Brashko. Brashko is a 22-year-old. He only made his senior Ukraine debut in March. Fair to say Yarmolenko is a bit more experienced. It's his 120th cap. And as for Yaremchuk, it's his 51st cap. So some experience coming onto the pitch for Ukraine. Will it help?
I mean, it has to a degree, but you've got to ask yourself the question, is it a little bit too late? It's a real big ask to claw 3 goals back to equalise it, let alone 4, and that's without taking into account how well Romania have done. You won't play it against them to score another.
63 minutes gone. Here on Euro Game Day Live on TalkSport 2. Romania 3, Ukraine 0. An extraordinary scoreline. Goals from Nicolae Stanciu, Razvan Marin and Denis Dragush have put Romania in complete control in Munich. But Ukraine have won a free kick inside left channel, around about 35 yards from goal. Zinchenko and Mudryk standing over it. They did so want to do well, and they could still, of course. Still 2 games to go in the group stage, and remember, 4 of the best third-place teams will qualify, as well as the teams that finish in the top 2 spots. Mudryk over this free kick, drifts it in right-footed, the header away. He was only to the edge of the area, and the shot came in from Yarmolenko, but he got right underneath it, and the ball zoomed over the crossbar.
Yeah, he did. It's one of those difficult ones. It's headed back out towards the edge of the box where he is on the half volley. Can't get it under control, hits it on the rise. But for Ukraine, I think it's important to at least get a goal back, whether that means for one of those positions. The goal difference is important, actually, for the confidence as well. Coming into this game, heavy favourites, and to be losing 3-0, they can claw 1, maybe 2 goals back. It will help just a little bit for that confidence.
There's repeating, Romania had only ever won once in Euro finals ahead of today. So if they do win, it'll only be their 2nd victory. And it'll be their first since 2000. And Denis Mann, by the way, who's created a couple of the goals, the first Romanian to provide 2 assists at a major tournament game since Georgi Hagi against Colombia back in the USA 94 World Cup. Not a bad afternoon. No,
he's been really good. It's a shame for him, really, that he's not been on the score sheet, because I think he deserves it. He's played extremely well. He's got high. I was just looking at the average positions, actually, and he's been the highest player on the pitch for Romania, and is mentioned put in such a shift because he has to go back, and he was having to help out Raciu in the right back position and also get up and help the forward line, and had a really good performance.
Talking about Hagi, by the way, Yanis Hagi came on as a substitute a few moments ago. Has a lot to live up to. His father, Georgi, arguably Romania's greatest ever player. 124 caps, 35 goals, played in 6 major international tournaments. He was named as Romanian Footballer of the Year 7 times. No pressure, nothing to live up to there. Here come Ukraine down the right-hand side with Yarmolenko. In off that right-hand side, and just slid it to Yaremchuk on the edge of the area, but he was so quickly challenged by that Romanian back line, who have been exceptional. And then Romania winning a free kick in midfield. Razvan Marin again getting to the ball first, and Courtney Ekintel, you feel he's been one of the players of the match so far?
Yeah, I like him a lot. The aggression that he plays with, but he doesn't go over the top with it, doesn't give away too many fouls. His positioning to intercept the balls has been excellent. Running forward, obviously for his goal where he found himself, was very good in terms of the position that he found himself in. The fact that he takes it quickly, so Lunin probably should do better, but equally struggles to get down a little bit to the ball. But especially in that back line as well, they've been so good at winning the ball back and being aggressive in the 1v1 battles.
Just seen our first yellow cards of the afternoon. Joachim Konoplia with the foul on Valentin Mihaila, who was surging away from him, pulled his jersey, dragged him down, and so Konoplia the first man this afternoon in the book. He's had a tough afternoon, and he's not alone in that. The Shakhtar Donetsk player. And it is going to be a free kick wide on the left here for Romania, who are 3-0 up against Ukraine. Yanis Hadji standing over this. Stanciu there as well. Stanciu's already hit the bar with the set piece, and he's whipped this in and gone for goal, and it hit the side netting. Some of the fans in this stadium thought that was in, and Lunin was scrambling, but it hit the side netting, and it's a goal kick.
Yeah, he was, and whether it's that free kick there or the corner, maybe there was a little bit of debate over was he just trying to find the area or was he going for the goal, and I think he's going for goal because I think he's seeing Lunin's position that's maybe a little bit off. He knows he's got the quality to whip the ball in, and the same there. I think he saw a little bit of space at the near post but couldn't quite find the target.
Here come Ukraine again with Konoplia down the right, but loses it. Wonderful work rate again from Romania. They have played with such intensity, such quality, and they will feel that they can make a real splash at this tournament. We're certainly not expected to do so by many, but they have been outstanding both in attack and defence. Here is Sudakov, plays it forward to the edge of the area, and Yarmolenko, it goes back to Sudakov. Dolfbeek, central option, but the cross is headed away by Ratiu, only as far as Zinchenko. Changes passes with Mudryk, 25 yards out. Mudryk goes down, free kick. And Romania a little too overzealous trying to win that one back.
Yeah, it's a shame with that one, but I think you're right. It's just the wrong side of being overzealous in the end. Does Mudryk make the most of it and go down when he feels the contact from Hadji? Yes, he does, but probably just come on the pitch, wants to make an impression, but just a little bit overzealous in the challenge.
His dad wasn't much of a tackler either, but it never stopped him. It's going to be a free kick then to Ukraine, inside left channel, around about 25 yards from goal. 70th minute in Munich, and a stunning scoreline really. Romania 3-0 up against Ukraine. And it's becoming the perfect start to the tournament for Edward Iordanescu's man. Sudakov standing over this. Zinchenko there as well, but it'd be a surprise not to see Sudakov go for goal here. Florin Mita, the veteran goalkeeper, all in green, readies himself in his short sleeves. It's Sudakov, and it took a deflection, and it goes way over the crossbar, and it'll be a corner.
Yeah, Dragusin does so well in terms of making sure, makes the jump, gets himself in the way, doesn't turn his back, just quite happy to take that ball even if it hurts and make sure it doesn't go goalwards.
Have been Romanian fans openly weeping at how their team have performed. Did a good one. Mudryk's corner, headed away, and now Mihaila could bring it clear for Romania. And they are flooding forwards here, including Dragusin, who now has it on the left wing. Centre-back turns attacker, and he's charging forward, and he gets brought down, which is pretty much the only way you could bring him down. It's like trying to stop a steam train, that. And it was Matvienko who came across and just nudged him over. Free kick Romania.
And he's actually really clever. We normally see this from forwards or wide players, the way that you put your body across the defender to make sure that you protect the ball. Dragusin does exactly that there and takes the challenge, and it's a free kick in a positive area for Romania.
Konoplia being replaced here is on a yellow card, and it's right back for a right back. Alexander Timchik replaces him. There's the right back at Dynamo Kyiv. Came through the youth ranks there. Here's the free kick whipped in, and it was taken comfortably by Lunin in the end, but it was whipped in with real velocity, that.
Yeah, it was, and for all the mistakes that Lunin's made today, he's confident there. He comes and commands his area, collects it, and it's positive for him to get a little bit of confidence back after having a bit of a poor game by his standards.
Ball played forward towards Sudakov, who's trying to wriggle away from Marius Marin, and he's done it. He's also got away from two more challenges. That was brilliant. Works it out to the right-hand side. Yarmolenko's cross towards the near post, and Dragusin knocks it behind for a corner, and then a double fist pump to the fans behind the goal. and a few chest bumps as well with his teammates. He is fired up.
I absolutely love it, and maybe we've seen a few defensive celebrations a little bit too earlier on in the tournament, but that 3-0 up, he knows it's a vital interception, and rightly so, celebrates with his players and fans.
Unfortunately, we do have a pitch invader who's just being helped very quickly off the playing surface. I think he wanted to give his congratulations to the Romanian players a bit early there, so he's been removed. We're going to have another double change here, and we're going to see George Puskás, who Reading fans will remember. He's going to come on, but here is this corner first. It's a flat one, easily cleared, volleyed back towards the edge of the area by Brajko. It's now with Mudryk inside left channel, 20 yards from goal, trying to work a shooting angle. Still going, Mikhailo Mudryk slips it into the box, looking for Dovbyk, but Nita's there, and he's able to gather, and it remains Romania 3, Ukraine 0.
Yeah, for how well he does initially Mudryk, he beats a couple of players, 2, 3, then 4, but actually so many players in the box, so difficult to break through. Marius Marin's doing really well to track the run and just giving Nita, his goalkeeper, time to come out and collect the ball easily.
The other player who's going to come on, by the way, for Romania is Adriano, who won the Cypriot Cup with Paphos this season. Not a bad place to play your football.
I was about to say, lovely place of the world, one of my favourite destinations.
Ball hit long here down the right-hand side by Ukraine, trying to find Timchik, and he will get there. Just down by the corner flag on the far side, the right for Ukraine, finding Yarmolenko, who picked up the captain's armband after Stepanenko went off. Ukraine looking for a way through. They found Sudakov. It's on the edge of the Romanian area. Romania were plenty back here. Here's Mudryk, curling cross to the far post. That's headed away strongly. Every defensive intervention by Romania is being cheered as if it was a goal.
Yeah, right. So it's that vital part of the game where you're relying on your defence now, you're relying on that game management to be clever, to see you through, to win the ball back, and then just keep that little bit of calmness. Can you get the ball forward? Keep possession for a period of time, because Ukraine now are going to be throwing the kitchen sink at it.
So 2 players coming off. One of the goal scorers, Denis Draguš, making way for George Puskás. Currently plays with Genoa, although he has been on loan at Bari in Italy. And Adrian Rus comes on as well. So double change. Remember, still to come, Belgium against Slovakia, live on TalkSport. That kicks off at 5. Nigel Adderley and Dean Ashton, the commentators for that one. And at 8 o'clock, we'll hear about France for the first time as they take on Austria. Joe Shannon alongside the former Scotland striker Chris Owelamo. Hear every kick of Euro 2024 on the TalkSport network. Offside flag is up against Romania. You are listening to Euro Game Day Live on TalkSport 2, presented by Burger King. Bring home the ultimate food satisfaction. Get your favourites delivered now. Ball is with Sudakov, who's manfully tried to get involved in this game. He's had some lovely runs, great touches. Works it to Timchik. Now Yarmolenko, the former West Ham player, wide on the right-hand side for Ukraine, but he's being forced to the touchline every time. Brajko works it to Sudakov. 25 yards out, right foot shot, and Nita is able to claim it the second attempt. It looked just for a moment as though it had squirmed through his grasp, but to Nita's relief, the ball was still there for him to grab.
It's the first real save that I can remember Nita having to make, and Sudakov does well, pushes it out with the outside of his foot to the right hand side and then tries to drive it back across to try and outfox Nita, but he claims it at the second time of asking.
77th minute here on TalkSport 2. Romania 3, Ukraine 0. A real surprise, not just the fact that Romania are winning the game, but the fact that they've pretty much bossed it. Nikolai Stanciu with the stunner in the first half. Goals from Razvan Marin and Denis Draguš in the second half. Here's Mudryk, still trying to lead the charge for Ukraine. Zinchenko across to Sudakov. Sudakov rolls it forward to Yaremchuk with the shot. That hits a Romanian defender. should just put that on loop, I think. That hits a Romanian defender. They've been absolutely outstanding.
Same old story. And those Ukrainian shots are tending to be coming from the edge or the outside of the box because they can't fashion enough space or get the ball through quick enough into the box. And as you say, there's always a Romanian player on hand to put their body on the line to block the ball in.
Nicolae Stanciu is just sat down, feeling the pain a little bit maybe. He was a player who had 2 weeks training with Chelsea as a 17-year-old, but a move didn't materialise. The Blues reportedly went back in for him in 2016, but saw their bid rejected. And he's been a player with a somewhat nomadic career, but on the big stage he has shone for his country this afternoon. Here come Ukraine again, with Dragushin having to stretch to clear, and then foul by Mihaila on Mudryk, and that's going to be Romania's first yellow card. Well, it's actually Marin who made the challenge, Razvan Marin, who went crashing into Mudryk there, arm across the throat really. And that's the first blot in the copybook really for Razvan Marin.
I think he's maybe a little bit unlucky as well. I think he's just trying to use his arm for leverage. He doesn't sort of force it backwards into Mudryk. For me it was 6 of one and half a dozen of the other.
And what it's led to is a free kick. Mudryk with those neck tattoos, those distinctive markings ready to take. Plays it in delicately, and Nita had to get across and gather the ball. It looked as though it might just clip the post actually, but he came across and gathered it before that could happen. And it's just taken away from Yaremchuk by Dragushin. Yet another intervention from the big Spurs player.
Yeah, he does really well, the slightest of touches, but yet again, despite having not a lot to do, Nita's ready to pounce on that ball and bring it to safety.
And there was a feeling that it might be Horatiu Moldovan who got the nods in goal, but he hasn't played at all in the second half of the season for Atletico Madrid. So Florin Nita, 36 years young, given the nods. It's always depressing when you talk about veterans and they're a lot younger than you. I'm finding that a lot these days.
Yeah, football like that's a bit of an unforgiving place. That's why I retired when I did. There's a 16-year-olds running about, and yeah, makes you feel very old.
Get ahead of the curve, that's the way. Long ball towards the edge of the Ukrainian area, headed away strongly, but here is Yanis Hadji, plays it in low. Hadji's been on loan at Alaves from Rangers, and did start to be involved in starting 11s towards the end of the season, but he's generally found game time hard to come by in Spain with Alaves. We're in the final 10 minutes of normal time, and an extraordinary scoreline: Romania 3, Ukraine 0. Goals from Stanciu, Razvan Marin, and then Dragush, the difference here. But Ukraine do still have time in this tournament to turn things around. They've not let the heads drop, they've kept on pushing, kept on trying to make things happen, but without success.
Yeah, there's certainly not been a lack of effort by any stretch of the imagination, but it's just that lack of quality into the final third. They've not fashioned chances that were clear cut. I don't think you can look at the forwards and go, you know, you've missed X, Y and Z chances and they should be doing better. It's just the lack of creation in that final third that needs to be looked at going into the next two games.
The Romanian fans have had a whale of a time. They were making plenty of noise before we even got started, but I think this is beyond even their wildest dreams, the way their team has performed on the big stage. A lot of Romanian journalists were saying that, you know, it was a big surprise to qualify, certainly a big surprise to win the group. But you looked at this group and it did feel like an opportunity. Belgium, the big hitters, of course, but Slovakia, Ukraine, Romania would have felt they could compete against them at least, but they've been more than competitive today.
Yeah, look, we know football isn't played on paper, but you did look at that group and think that's probably the most open one out of all of them, and certainly Romania, they've got off to a fantastic start. So if it stays like this, you know, 3 points on the board already, they're giving themselves such a, obviously then a good chance of getting out of the group.
Going to be another change here, and Georgy Sudakov, who's kept on trying, kept on pushing, but without success today. He makes way, and the much more experienced Ruslan Malinovsky comes on for his 62nd cap. The former Atalanta and Marseille player who's only got 4 Serie A goals this season for Genoa, and he failed to score in qualifying, but he was a regular at Euro 2020 when Ukraine had that fine run to the quarter-finals before they ran afoul of England, well beaten in Rome.
Sudakov has had a frustrating game, hasn't he? He's tried his best, but what stuck out to me was about 5 minutes ago where he's dropped in between the centre half to try and get the ball, and I think that says all you need to know about how frustrated he's been not to be able to influence this game the way he would have wanted to.
Ball was given away by Zabani rather clumsily. Puskás was able to pick his pocket. Now Stanchu has it just inside the Ukrainian half. And that was well won back by Malinovsky, who's only just come on. Referee looked at that and said no free kick. And now it's played through to Mudryk. Big chance here, and he's put it over the top. Well, that's one of the clearest sights of goal Ukraine have had this afternoon. And Mikhailo Mudryk is wildly off target.
Yeah, and you could argue he gets pushed a little bit wide, but for me, he's got to be at least hitting the target. He's trying to find that near post. You've got to go across the goalkeeper there. Ratu, don't get me wrong, does really well to stay with him, dive in front of the ball to put him off when he takes a shot, but again, Mudryk has to do a lot better there.
Romania wanted a free kick in the build-up to that. They felt that Mihaila had been fouled, and just seen a replay on her monitors. Certainly didn't seem that way, that Mihaila was trodden on, but play was allowed to go on. What have you made of Mudryk's performance, actually? Because it's kind of similar to what we see at Chelsea. There are really good moments, then there are moments that are not so good, but he's still so young. Yeah,
you took the words out of my mouth in the sense that I think it very much follows the season that he had at Chelsea. You see him fits and starts, his quality, what he has, the way that he can jink past 3 or 4 defenders and show a lot of quality, and obviously the pace that he possesses as well. But there's also, you see him and he goes past 3 or 4 players, but then you're waiting for that end product and it doesn't come. So it's a shame for him that he's not been able to influence the game the way that he would have wanted to. But all season it's been the same old story for me. That end product has to develop. But you're right, he's such a young player and he's got time. But it's unfortunate for him when you have such a large price tag on your head. People want it immediately.
There was quite a sight a few moments ago in the stadium as the Romanian fans were united in song, raising the scarves. What an afternoon it's been for them. And for Ukraine, there are still 2 games to go, and they will feel they have enough quality to bounce back. They've shown throughout qualification they can recover from setbacks, and they're going to have to do that once again. Serhii Rebrov will have to raise his team. Going to be another change here for Romania, and they're taking off Nikolai Stanchu, who got that wonderful opening goal. The captain, he gives the captain's armband to Razvan Marin and gets a hero's ovation as he goes off. He'll be replaced by the much more defensively minded Bogdan Rakovitan.
Serves 2 purposes, doesn't it, in terms of bringing a defensive player on, making sure that you keep this 3-0 lead intact, but also bringing Stanchu off, wrapping him in cotton wool, making sure that he's in the best possible position for the next game, because he's been excellent today.
He is the one they look to for inspiration, Nikolai Stanchu, and he's provided it this afternoon. The creative heartbeat of this team. And it is Bogdan Rakovitan who comes on, who did play in a couple of friendlies, but it's his competitive debut. It's only his 3rd cap. Plays his football in Poland. There is Zinchenko. Means so much to all of these Ukrainian players. They'll be so disappointed with how this afternoon has turned out. But of course it's worth remembering that just them getting here is remarkable when you consider the war in their homelands. They are under the most unbearable pressure. and yet they have borne that with grace and with real dignity, and they have taken their country to the big stage, and it is something that means so much more than just football. It's about keeping that conflict in the public eye. They've been quite open about that, and you certainly wouldn't write them off in the next 2 games.
No, certainly not. I think for Romania it's been a bit of a perfect storm in the sense that I think they've played well, probably above what we'd expect, and on the other side of it, Ukraine haven't had their best game by any stretch of the imagination. We know the quality that they have within their ranks, and we've not seen it really today. Dovbyk, you know, we were speaking about him before the game, the amount of goals he scored, but he's not been given that opportunity in front of goal by his teammates, so certainly Ukraine aren't out of it yet.
Here's Zinchenko with a booming cross from the left-hand side, which Mihaila put behind for a corner. Didn't get a shout there, or at least that's his story, and he puts it behind for the corner.
Yeah, maybe he's not being helped out by all the rowdy Romanian fans behind his goal.
Yeah, it is loud. It is very, very loud in Munich this afternoon. It's going to be a corner for Ukraine, who trail 3-0 in the 89th minute. Is there a consolation goal here? Whipped in by Malinovsky with pace and headed wide of his own goal by Puskás. It could so easily have been an own goal, but the ball whizzes wide of the far post. It'll be a corner.
And Nita comes out to punch that. Lack of communication.
It'll be Mudryk to take. It'll be right-footed. Just drifts it towards the near post, and not good enough, really. Easily cleared by Romania. It's been a running theme for Ukraine this afternoon. Those set pieces just haven't been good enough.
Yeah, from both sides, specifically the corners. They've not cleared the first man majority of the time, and you know that's the main thing from the corner.
Fine run by Timchik, but his cross was blocked by Banku, who's done a super job on that left-hand side. Nikushaw Banku, very much established as the left back. Actually played twice at Euro 2016, so he does have experience at this level. And Romania just happy to let the time elapse. They're inching towards one of the most famous afternoons in their history, one of the best results. Talk about that USA 94 team a lot. Could they do something special here? Well, this is a fine run though for Ukraine by Yaremchuk, and now it's played towards Mudryk. Can he get the cross in? He can, but it's too close to Florin Nita, and he just gathers it and does that goalkeeper's thing of just falling on the floor to let a few more seconds go by.
Yeah, you knew it was coming, didn't you? As soon as he drives up, collects that ball, could have quite easily stood on his feet, but you can't blame him. Goes down, just trying to wind down the seconds to a very, very famous Romania win.
Played here towards Dovbyk. Ukraine looking for that consolation goal, that crumb of comfort on what's been a very difficult afternoon for Serhii Rebrov's team. Cleared once again though by the Romanian rearguard, and they have Banku down. He's been down a couple of times this afternoon. He was actually trodden on by his own player there.
Yeah, not ideal, just on the top of his foot. But, you know, winding down now into these last few minutes, the pain, the adrenaline, you won't feel it because the excitement now, knowing how close you are.
And what's worse was that it was his teammate Burko who did it and then celebrated to the fans. Played forward by Zabani. Here's Yaremchuk, trying to lift it over the goalkeeper, and he's hit the crossbar. So close there, Roman Yaremchuk, to getting a goal back for Ukraine. Just let it drop over his shoulder, lifted it over the keeper. That is mightily close.
Yeah, Nisa had absolutely no chances, stuck to the spot. The ball's flying over his head, and you can see Yaremchuk is just trying to find that top left-hand corner, drop it over the goalkeeper. But fortunately for Romania, the woodwork comes to their aid.
That kind of day for Ukraine. Yaremchuk, a player who hasn't been playing particularly well at club level, but he scored against Bosnia-Herzegovina in the playoff semi-final. Romania still trying to push on that left-hand side with Mihaila, but Ukraine have won it, and then the ball played straight out of play by Timchik. And nothing has gone right for Ukraine this afternoon. So what does Serhii Rebrov do now? How does he lift the players? Does he concentrate on their positives, what they're capable of doing?
Yeah, I think he has to. Look, there's obviously analysis to take from the game, but especially in tournament football, it's so thick and fast, you have to move on ever so quickly, and that's the important point for them. Move on quickly, take what you need to take from the game, but the concentration going into the next one, finding the positives as much as possible is the most important thing in tournament football.
Loud boos from those pumped up Romanian fans as Ukraine try and make something happen in the final moments of stoppage time here. Yarmolenko with a little step over, comes in on his left foot. Space here for Brashko. Thought about the shot, changes his mind, works it to Zinchenko. The Arsenal player feeds it infield, and again it's all too central really and all too predictable, and Romania with that yellow wall able to stand strong. The yellow wall of course is usually in Dortmund, but it's been in Munich today. Mudryk coming in field, right foot shot, Nita made a bit of a mess of it, it bounced off his chest and actually rebounded out of the area. Nita had to go and collect it, but he's been able to clear. That was a scare for the goalkeeper.
Yeah, he gets a little bit lucky. I think he actually slips, and we've seen that a few times today from quite a few of the players. The surface probably doesn't look the best, and as he plants, his right foot just seems to slip. Manages to then get his torso and chest in front of the ball in the end, but it was a bit of a shaky moment.
It's the Romanian fans you can hear, twirling scarves, jumping up and down, screaming to the heavens. What a day for them. Perhaps an unexpected one. It is Romania who have collected 3 points to get their Euro 2024 campaign off to the perfect starts. They were ruthless, they were relentless. Wonderful goal in the first half from their captain, Nicolae Stanciu. That got them going, but they were exceptional in the early part of the second half and added further goals from Razvan Marin and Denis Dragush. Ukraine had no answer, couldn't open up the Romanian rear guards, and defensively made mistakes. They will go away and try to find the answers that they require. But it is all about Romania this afternoon. A stunning result, a stellar performance. It has finished Romania 3, Ukraine 0, and Courtney Sweetman-Kirk. What a performance by Romania.
Yeah, the word I keep thinking about, well, two really. Clinical for one, when they were going forward. I thought they were really good in the attack. Didn't do it with the frequency that Ukraine went forward with, but when they did, they looked very, very dangerous, and they were brave in what they did. Even when they went 1-0 up, it wasn't just a case of resting on their laurels and trying to see the rest of the game out with their defensive prowess. They picked up their moments so well to go forward, to attack, to put the pressure on Ukraine, and then, you know, at other moments when maybe they're a little bit tired, making sure that they got back in their shape and soaked up the pressure. And looking at the players now, we mentioned some of the crowd, the fans weeping. Well, quite a few of the players actually have got tears in their eyes. What a fantastic moment for this Romanian team. Didn't really know what to expect from them, but I've been so impressed. And the big thing now is, can they take another performance, you know, in the second game and the third game? Can they replicate this level of performance? Because both in and out of possession, I thought they were brilliant.
There are families being hugged. There are players who've climbed in with the fans to see their loved ones. This really has been a day of such emotion. We talked about Ukraine a lot beforehand because of what's going on in their homeland, because of how important it is to each and every one of these Ukrainian players. But what shouldn't be forgotten is just how important it is to Romania as well. And there were fans openly weeping when it got to 3-0, and the players have really earned this moment of joy.
Yeah, look, that's what football is. It brings everyone together. It brings friends, families, and now we're seeing it obviously on the international stage, nations together. It's a fantastic moment for these players to drink in, to take it in. They've got to enjoy it, because as soon as you walk off that pitch and go down the tunnel, you sort of have a little bit of a debrief, and then you're on to the next one. So enjoy this for what it is. But obviously, there's still 2 games to play.
Well, let's take a look at the King performance, thanks to Burger King.
King Performance on TalkSport 2 with Burger King. Bring home the ultimate food satisfaction with the Gourmet King's Barbecue Steakhouse Angus. Order your Burger King delivery now.
So, Courtney, what was your King performance for this game?
It's difficult because genuinely there were so many Romanian players that I could have picked out, but Razvan Marin, I think, really impressed me today, both in and out of possession. The way that he gets himself defensively in fantastic positions, whether it's to make the interceptions, to make the tackles, the timing of it, but the timing for his runs forward as well. And you see that especially with the goal, the way that he arrives at the ball to strike it so well. Yes, Lunin should have done better, but I think that's the one that then really pushes Romania forward. That second goal to go and give them that real cushion to push everyone else on. But yeah, there's so many other players I could have mentioned, but Razvan Marin for me was very impressive.
That was our King Performance pick in association with Burger King.
King Performance on TalkSport 2 with Burger King. Bring home the ultimate food satisfaction with the Gourmet King's Barbecue Steakhouse Angus. Order your Burger King delivery now.
Well, my thanks to Courtney Sweetman-Kirk for her insight and her company. I've been your match commentator, Kevin Hatchard. The Romanian players just lined up in front of their fans. Nikolai Stanciu with megaphone in hand, and he should be shouting about his performance and Romania's performance. It is their day. They have beaten Ukraine by 3-0. Coming up, it is Play On, how football returns to war-torn Ukraine, our special documentary on the journey Ukrainian football has faced during its ongoing war with Russia. You have been listening to Euro Game Day Live on TalkSport 2.
Euro Game Day Live, delivered by TalkSport 2 with Burger King. Get your classic Game Day flame grilled Whopper made fresh and delivered to your door. Order your Burger King delivery now.
This Euros, The Sun is bringing you all the gossip, goals and giants of the game. Get insights and analysis from Harry, should have been England manager, Redknapp, Jack, the maestro, Wilshere, Gordon, no nonsense, Strachan, and Jurgen, the winner, Klinsmann. You won't want to miss it. Don't miss out, only in The Sun.
Well, you can see why people are talking about Asda, can't you?
Of course, on paper, Asda have a great lineup with 24 packs of Budweiser, just £14. Then there's pizza price drops, including the talented spicy chicken fajita flavour. Was £3, now £2.
And don't forget the dependable garlic flatbread was £1.80, now £1.50. Could be the difference maker. What a lineup!
Get match ready at Asda this summer. Asda, that's more like it. Selected stores online subject to availability. Budweiser 300ml, price not available in Wales and Scotland. May exclude Express and small stores. See asda.com/small stores.
This tournament, prepare for greatness with William Hill. Get ready for last-minute winners, legendary goals, and straight red cards. Oh, what was he thinking? Win 25% more on every single game this tournament with Bet Builder Extra, online or in the app, only from William Hill. Available day before match to kick-off. Bet Builders are 3+ selections at 3-1 or more. Pre-match singles, match stake £20. Full T's and C's apply. 18+, begambleaware.org.
Let's go live to hear about that winning goal.
The crowd's gone absolutely wild here. How on earth do you sum up your emotions right now?
Amazing. A hat-trick is just the best feeling ever.
Is it though? Is kicking a ball into the back of the net really better than food fulfillment from Burger King? That warm, fuzzy feeling of total food satisfaction, like finishing the last bite of a Gourmet King's Barbecue Steakhouse Angus.
No.
Correct. Burger King. That's food fulfillment.
Create your avatar. Pwn your first nude. Enjoy your newfound power. Climb the leaderboard. Dominate the leaderboard. Listen to people scream your gamer tag. Kirsty_26. 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 For less.
Selected IKEA gaming setups are now at a new lower price, along with thousands of other products. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
On the beach, on the beach, on the beach.
Booking geniuses, save your summer. Get a wiggle on and book yourself a bargain with On the Beach. Big budget or small, we've got a mega holiday for all. Should have been a rapper. On the Beach, book like a genius, holiday like a fool.
ATOL protected.
beach.
Here she is, the three-time world champion. What has she got in store for us today? Things are starting to heat up. Here she goes. Triple builders, double stir. I don't believe it. And a chocolate digestive to finish it off. A thing of beauty. You have to say, the judges are gonna love this one.
British Gas, powering home fans during this summer of sport.
Euro Game Day Live on TalkSport 2 with Carling, the UK's #1 lager. 18 plus, always drink responsibly.
A breeze whistles between Kiev's iconic chestnut trees. The weak autumn sun tries to warm the Ukrainian people as they go about their daily business. You could be mistaken for a second that everything is normal here. But in February 2022, the Ukrainian Premier League about to return to action after its annual winter break, the country was changed forever. Russia had launched a full-scale military invasion in a war that has been raging ever since. In this special TalkSport documentary, we explore how football in Ukraine has recovered from the devastation and horror of the Russian invasion that brought the country to its knees, and how sport found its feet again in the most distressing of times.
Our worst fears have now come true. President Putin of Russia has unleashed war in our European continent.
A lot of our friends who were drinking beer last night, they just left their beers on their table and went straight to the front line.
80% of football fans fighting on the front line for sure.
A 500-pound bomb hit the centre of the field. The stadium itself, all the tribune is destroyed.
Football fans and many other men and women in Ukraine, they visit more funerals than birthdays.
FIFA have released a statement. There will be further, more definitive sanctions, which will include expulsion.
You know, every day is a missile attack. Every day is it's a very sad moment for Ukraine. But even during the wars, people still very passionate about the football.
Football is an amazing opportunity to send any message to the rest of the world, to enjoy. For me right now, when I'm on the pitch, I'm starting to forget about everything.
Ukraine score! And listen to what it means!
This situation is very changed our country, how people think. This unity which we have now, it's a very good start for a new life for this country.
I'm sports journalist and reporter Andrew Todos. Born to Ukrainian parents, I specialise in reporting on football in the country and run a popular website and podcast about Ukrainian football. You will hear from the legendary Ukrainian footballer Andriy Shevchenko and current Premier League star Alexander Zinchenko, plus be introduced to a wide range of personas involved in Ukraine's beautiful game, and the courageous story of Olya Piasecka, whose football fanatic husband lost his life defending his country during the invasion.
The biggest moment of my life was to see my kids' eyes when I had to tell them that he died. And when you explain that they will never see their father again, and when you see that little heart breaking, yeah, that's the worst experience ever.
Ukraine is a country steeped in footballing greats and memories. 3 Ballon d'Or winners, Valery Lobanovsky's Dynamo Kiev, Shakhtar, the last ever UEFA Cup champions in 2009, co-hosts of Euro 2012, the 2018 Champions League final, and Euro 2020 quarter-finalists.
Zinchenko. Подача. Удар! Гол! Artem Dovbyk!
Artem Dovbyk off the bench to send Ukraine into the quarter-finals of the European Championship.
This has all been achieved despite the tough deck the country's people have been dealt. Decades under the Soviet Union, corruption, 2 revolutions, the occupation of Crimea and the war in the Donbass, an event that forced Shakhtar Donetsk and Zorya Luhansk to be exiled from their homes for almost a decade. But nothing could prepare Ukraine and its football for the events that began on the 24th of February 2022.
This is Times Radio Breakfast with Asma Mir and Stig Abel.
Good morning. Russia has launched a military operation in Ukraine. Earlier reports suggested that eastern Ukraine was the target again, but there have been loud explosions heard in Kiev and in the city of Kharkiv.
In the days after the war broke out, even for the football authorities, organising leagues, playing matches and dealing with clubs was merely an afterthought. I spoke with former Glasgow Rangers midfielder Oleksiy Mikhailichenko, who is now the Vice President of the Ukrainian Association of Football, about what happened at the start of the full-scale war.
It was very difficult, very tough psychologically, because you live through tense and stressful situations every day. In my building, I gathered together all my children, all my dogs and cats. We were like one big family together. Everyone tried to support one another because we didn't know what was going to happen tomorrow.
Can you explain what happened in the early days? The UPL was just about to resume from its winter break, but didn't. Many foreign players were stranded and wanted to leave. How did UAF help to calm the situation?
In the first days, football, as with most other things, was little more than an afterthought. There were such situations with Shakhtar and with players from Dynamo Kyiv who were on their own. They didn't have the means to leave, and we helped them. I remember it very well when we organized the departure of Brazilian players from Hotel Opera. Their feelings, their tears, their prayers, when they were on their knees by the hotel's reception and praying that they survive this ordeal. You understand this greatly and feel compelled to help them the best you can, just like you would do for your own family, but you understand you have to remain here in order to continue with your own life.
The country's most famous footballer, Andriy Shevchenko, could only watch on from abroad in anguish as the horrific events unfolded.
Every day, Ukrainian people risk their life, soldiers who defend our country, and generally people who inside of Ukraine, every day is a missile attack. Every day is it's a very sad moment for Ukraine, but we can't give up. We just have to keep going. We have to do everything that to exist. We're talking about we're fighting for our future. We're fighting for chance to exist like a country, to have our language, our culture, and this everything for us.
That message was echoed across football. And while there were no thoughts of going to matches, the fans focused on defending their country. I stopped off in Lviv to meet up with Andy Markovits, who owns the Cantona pub, named after the Manchester United cult hero, Eric Cantona. He explained to me what happened to his business and his customers when war broke out.
In the morning, we decided with my partner Katya that we need to go to Cantona and to try to do something there. Because a lot of our friends who were drinking beer last night, they just left their beers on their table and went straight to the front line. And they hadn't a lot of ammunition, they hadn't sleeping bags. So we started to collect something, and we have a good location in the center. So we firstly made it like a warehouse where it all stored, and then it was shipped to the front lines.
I met up with Olya Pisetska on the 1-year anniversary of the death of her husband. She had organised a memorial service in Priborezhny Park on the banks of Kiev's Dnipro River. Olya describes to me how football fans, like her partner Dmitro, took up arms immediately without access to basic equipment.
He did not have any doubts where he will go and whom he will join, because his family, his football fans, family, his team, they were already there. So he just went, and the first time they did not have even ammunition or weapons, so they bought many things. They asked other fans from other countries to help. Sometimes they even had those direct fights. They did not even have helmets and protection for their heads, and that was like crazy thing.
What was it like for the family when he was away?
That was a very hard thing because I was alone. with 2 small kids, with war around, and I could see from my balcony explosions. It was difficult to take care of myself and my kids, and then I knew he's fighting somewhere, and of course when your husband or your loved one is out there, you can't contact him all the time, and that's pretty scary feeling.
One of the unique developments for football supporters who had joined the army was a new brotherhood developing. Club rivalries were instantly forgotten.
Hello, my name is Roman Bebech. I'm Ukrainian sport journalist and commentator, and now is a YouTube channel blogger. The main example is Dnipro and Metalist. It's a big derby. It's like Milan, Inter, Napoli, Juventus, very big hate each other. But after the start of the big war and also 2014, everything is changed because in Ukraine this hooliganism it's stopped, and now a lot of football fans in the army, and it's a very strong teams when they coming together.